being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
Is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
We will develop the liquid gold that is right under our feet, including American oil and natural gas, and we will also embrace nuclear, clean coal, hydropower, which is fantastic, and every other form of affordable energy to get it done. We will not only match China, we will be cheaper than China by a lot, and more energy will mean lower inflation, and it'll mean more jobs. I will cancel Biden's ruinous power plant rule, terminate his electric vehicle mandate. If you want to buy an electric car, that's fine, but you're going to be able to buy every other form of car also, and unleash domestic energy production like never before.
I believe that China will be forced very soon to come to the table for the simple reason that China's economy is completely dependent on its exports to the United States and to the West. China has built its entire industrial strategy since its entrance into the World Trade Organization on being able to sell highly subsidized, currency-manipulated, dumped goods into U.S. markets. It is an industrial strategy from China to product dump strategically to take out American steel, to take out American aluminum, to take out core American defense industries and defense needs so that we're reliant on China. And what's happening here is that China is now discovering for the first time that they have met an American president who is not going to be intimidated, who's not going to be bullied, who's not going to be coerced, who's going to stand up for our essential security needs. Yeah, China needs us because of their export dependency on China.
It's going to be very interesting to...
Good evening. How you guys doing? So tonight we've got President Trump speaking at the Nrcc dinner. I want to make sure I got that right. National Republican Congressional Committee. So it's a formal affair. It looks like, yes, it is indeed a black tie affair. He'll be speaking. Earlier today, he spoke about rejuvenating energy in America. And I've got that entire video. I don't want to play it now because we don't have time. It is probably close to an hour long. So I'm going to post that because 68% of you said you haven't seen it. So I'm going to post it so it'll be available directly after this show. But I do have some snippets and some recaps all about it. So settle in. I don't know how long we're going to be here. We'll see how long President Trump speaks. But just to let you know, if you need to set a timer, we are about 5.5 hours from Chinese Armageddon. At midnight tonight, or 12:01 tomorrow, either way you look at it, China is in a whole lot of trouble. They depend on us, even though, and you can see the people in the media, oh my God, they're bending over backwards to protect China. They are freaking out. At this point, you can look and see who the traitors are in America. Instead of saying, hey, listen, China's been doing this and this and this to us, and we need to level the playing field. Oh, no, they are completely losing it. As you saw the stock market, want to hear something about the stock market in terms of it going crazy? There's something called the VIX, which is the Volatility Income Index. Volatility Index, rather, and how volatile the stock market is. Well, this was like the first 2 days in almost history that there's been 2,000-point swings in the market. This morning it was up by 1,500, and then it closed, I believe, at about 600 underneath that. Happened 2 days in a row, just all over the place. So it's called the VIX, the Volatility Index. And right now, it's about to go crazy. Because at midnight tonight, when this thing happens, when he puts this in place, and they start enforcing it, at this point, China really doesn't have many options. Their economy, the valuation of what they have is tanking extremely hard. So what they're doing is they're dumping a ton of U.S. treasuries. All kinds of T-bills, they're just flooding because they know what Trump wants. Trump wants to have the T-bill interest go down so that, of course, it makes interest rates go down. Since they know what Trump is looking for, they're trying to reverse it. But they can't indefinitely sell Treasury. Oh my God, this lady just fell out. Wow. Let me show you guys this. No, she just dropped all her stuff. All right. Ooh, I thought there's a lady talking before Trump gets up, and I'm looking over at it, and she just disappeared, and they came running out on stage. But she's okay. I think she just dropped her papers. That being said, God bless her. She's okay. But you don't have an infinite supply of treasuries. You can only sell what you have on hand. You can flood the market, and people will buy them up, and it's going to cause the T-bill rate to go upwards, which is the opposite of what Trump needs. He needs it to go downwards to force the Federal Reserve to make interest rates lower. I know to some people this is very confusing. Very, very, very confusing. And it's like up here type of economics. And we're seeing that in terms of what's happening. So just to make it simple, China is fighting back with their bombers. Because we're essentially in a war, but not, a shoot-'em-up war. So China's thinking, okay, so since President Trump is doing this at midnight, we need to flood the market with T-bills. We need to just make it flush into the United States economy, which I'm okay with. You see, if they're spending all of the money from the United States that they've been hoarding, that makes it even better. Sure, it's going to hurt for a little bit, just like everything else is going to hurt. I'm tired of people saying it's going to hurt for a little while. We're in a major economic tug-of-war at this point. And he who folds his hand first loses. And right now, President Trump, and you have to believe this, despite everything you see on television, the media rooting for China. Can't believe it. I cannot believe it. But in any event, China can't withstand without having America. They have to have our dollars in their economy. And so it's a foregone conclusion. Let's just put it that way.
Bob Besson is talking about as many as 70 countries. If Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary, is talking about 70 countries, if President Trump is talking about all these countries, then you know that they are looking to negotiate and make deals. Deals that will open up markets for the U.S., deals that will level the playing field with respect to our tariffs and their tariffs. And yeah, that's going to include some non-tariff barriers as well, although I don't think that's as important as some people do. There's no question they've changed their view. Now, was it a function of the stock market? I don't know. I think it's also a function of these countries coming in to us and saying, we want to make a deal.
Yeah.
And that's what Trump likes. He likes that a lot. He wants them to be the supplicants. And I think he's...
Here's what you can look for. If you look for these other countries, for China to put pressure on these other countries not to do deals. See, that might be something that China can put on their chessboard. Hey, why don't we pressure Cambodia? Why don't we pressure Vietnam? And see what we can do to make them not be so hasty in cutting a deal with Donald Trump. That may be something that they might want to try. Could it get to a military thing? I don't think so. I think everybody knows that this is the economy because there's no reason for it to get to military. Someone's going to lose, someone's going to win. Cut a deal so that it's somewhat palatable for your people as well. That's why these other countries are coming over and going, okay, we're not going to be able to survive. And I don't know if you saw, but I'll get into it later. The judges are allowing President Trump to fire people. So he's recouping that money. He's like, I'm not going to have these empty office buildings. We're not going to have these 16,000 people walking around on probationary periods. He's cleaning house. And everybody can see it. The only thing I can tell you at this point is ignore the media. The media is screaming. They're doing anything they can to try and convict all kinds of voters to saying this is bad. And the problem that they're having, and again, I saw it. If you see me, I'm well, newly shaved. I'm out today after the first show. Go to the barbershop. Go to the grocery store. The problem the media is having is people are out. They're not seeing the boogeyman. They're not seeing any monster under in the closet. They're going to the gas pumps and going, hey, this is pretty. I saw it myself. I'm standing there and people are like, wow, this is pretty good. No, I swear to gosh, it's absolutely happening. The barbershop where I go has probably 12 or 15 stations, all of them packed. Everybody is spending money. So you would think if people were worried, they'd be contracting. Nope, just the opposite. People can see what's about to happen here. Despite everything the media is saying, you just need to keep your eye on the ball and understand at this point, things could change. But at this point, Americans are winning. Now, I don't know who has their money in the stock market because nobody knows. We just see a number going up and down and things of that nature. But on Main Street, people are liking what's going on.
To make a deal. And by the way, here, Scott Besson said April, May, June are going to be busy months, okay? If you could get a couple, 3 deals in the next 3, 4, 5 weeks, I don't know how many weeks, 6 weeks, that's going to trigger a tremendous rally in the stock market.
Whoa.
Because people are going to say, you know what, the Trump people were right. This is exactly how it's playing out. They were treated unfairly. Now with this threat that they're making pays off. Trump is a master negotiator. I don't see, frankly, at this point, to me, all this recession talk, it's the greatest recession that never happened. I don't see it. I just don't see it. If the evidence comes in, you know me. If the empirics come in, I'll say yes.
You'll call it.
But
I know.
I don't see any evidence of a recession.
Larry,
President Trump.
And I just want all of you to just look around in your daily travels. When you go to the gas station, you go to get your hair done, you go to the grocery store, just look around. And just see if people look like they're panicked. I guess if you live in a blue state, you might see that. But those of us here in red states, we're not seeing any of that action. We're seeing people, Robin and I both, people smiling. Now, I understand it's April and there's still some snowbirds down here, but I guarantee you some of the same people who were at the rally last weekend are in these restaurants. I know for a fact, because there's so many retirees down here, that those people who were driving the Lexus and the BMWs and the Mercedes and attending that rally, afterwards, like, okay, Ira, where are we going for dinner tonight? Because everything is moving. I mean, let me know in the comments. What does your economy look like? Not the market. What does your economy look like? Are you seeing people contracting? Remember, I had said to you a long time ago, not a long time ago, during spring break, when my grandson's friend asked me, are we in a recession? And I said to him, and I'm saying it to you, when you see people beginning to pull back, like, I can't afford to do this, I can't afford to go here, where their lives change because they're having to make decisions based upon every dollar, then maybe you start sitting back and going side-eye. But I don't see that here. Am I spoiled? Maybe. But we're in a really, really, really big state. And things are happening. So this is one of the senators coming out. He's going to make a speech. Let's listen in on, I forget what this guy's name is, but some of these guys I want to take. And this guy might have a good speech. And then I'll come back and show you some other stuff from happened earlier.
No, hello, fellow Republicans. Where are you? I know this is the cheap time. You get to hear from me, then you're going to get energy out of Steve Scalise, and you're going to get some energy out of our speaker, Mike Johnson. But guess what? The show is Donald J. Trump, so get ready. We're just the warm-up band, if you will. Good evening, everyone. I know we are all ready for an exciting night as we hear from our 45th and our 47th President, Donald J. Trump. President Trump has been working at breakneck speed to undo the damage Joe Biden and Kamala Harris inflicted on our country over the past 4 years. In less than 100 days, he has delivered win after win after win for the American people. From stopping the invasion at our southern border, to rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal government, and so much more. One thing is very clear. America is back. Yeah, you should clap for that. America is back. The best part is, we're just getting started. President Trump will renew the American dream and usher in our country's golden age, but he needs our help to make it happen. On November 5th, President Trump earned over 77 million Americans vote. And House Republicans, we earned over 74 million collectively. So what does that mean? That means there are over 2 million voters out there who are not Republican or Democrat voters. They are Trump voters. We have a historic opportunity over the next 18 months to bring them firmly into the Republican camp. And we do that by delivering on President Trump's America First agenda that they voted for in Congress. That means continuing the president's wildly successful tax policy so we can unleash economic prosperity and prevent a $5 trillion tax hike. It means giving the administration the tools it needs to carry out the largest deportation operation in American history to ensure there are no more stories like Laken Riley. It means empowering energy producers to drill, baby, drill, lowering prices for American families in the process. Yeah. It means strengthening the world's greatest fighting force to uphold President Trump's policy of peace through strength. This is how we will cement our majority's place in history and give us the message we need to take on the campaign trail next year. It's going to take every person in this room to get the job done. And I know that we will, because failure is simply not an option. President Trump is counting on us. The American people are counting on us. And our friends in this room and grassroots supporters across the country are counting on us. As we look to the next election cycle, we have to keep our eye on the ball. We cannot afford to be complacent. We have to outwork and out-fundraise Democrats. We are proud of the job Chairman Hudson did last cycle to protect our majority, and we're ready to continue working with him to not only protect it this time, but to grow our majority next year. Because President Trump must have a strong House Republican majority to work with for all 4 years of his term. We have already seen the lengths Democrats are willing to go to try and stop the president when they hold an ounce of power in Washington. We remember the sham impeachments and the investigations that started after the 2018 midterms, and we know better than to ever let that happen again. I'm proud to be a partner in this fight with all of you. Now let's go get it done. Thank you. God bless President Trump. God bless America, and God bless all of you. Have a great night.
All right, so I forget who that congressman's name is. It just completely escaped me. If you guys know, go ahead and put it in the chat. But I'm glad to see some of these people fired up. So he just mentioned that Steve Scalise may be next, and then after him, Mike Johnson. So we may just jump into a couple of these people and see what they have to say. Yeah, Steve Scalise is right now limping. Poor guy with that when they tried to shoot. Well, they did shoot him. He's getting ready to talk. So let's listen in to Steve Scalise. Oops, they're playing music. Can't listen to the music. That was Eye of the Tiger, and YouTube would freak out if they're playing the music. He's talking.
We've got the over-under. You know, if you got your bingo cards, it's going to be a fun night. But look, the first thing I want to say is thank each and every one of you for what you did, number one, to help us keep the House majority, and what you're doing to help us grow this majority next year. Now, just think about it. It's not even been 3 months since Donald Trump took the oath of office. And what a difference 3 months makes. Just 3 months ago, the lunatics on the left said to save the planet, you've got to buy a Tesla. Today, the same lunatics on the left get a Molotov cocktail, light it on fire, and burn the Tesla. I thought they cared about carbon emissions. What about the carbon emissions? You could drive a diesel truck for 30 years and not emit as much carbon as lighting a Tesla on fire. These people have lost their mind. Now, the press says a lot right now about how the Democrat Party doesn't have a leader. Like most times, I beg to differ with the Washington press. The Democrat Party has leaders. Their names are AOC, Bernie Sanders, Jasmine Crockett. Have you seen them? They are pushing the same Marxist ideology that brought people to the polls in record numbers to elect Donald Trump president. Not just winning the Electoral College, 77 million votes to win the popular vote, to run the table in all 7 swing states. The Democrats still won't admit why they lost, but we know. We ran on real issues. We said we were going to go to work day one if we had the House, Senate, and White House working for those families who were struggling under Joe Biden's policies. And what have we done? In just 3 months, we have already started fighting for those families. Border security was the #1 issue in America, and look at what happened. In less than 3 months, illegal crossings are down 95% because Donald Trump has done what he said he would do. If you look at energy production, and we're working on this one big beautiful bill, you're going to hear President Trump talk about that one big beautiful bill. This is the bill that will lock in tax rates so we don't have a massive tax hike, that will allow us to produce more energy, reversing all the crazy Biden far-left policies to shut down American energy. When you think about border security, yes, the president has already taken major steps to secure the border, but we still need to build the wall, and we're going to fund that in this bill. We're going to give our Border Patrol agents the tools they've been asking for years. Night vision goggles, drones, the things the drug cartels in Mexico has that we don't have. Why should the Mexican drug cartels have better technology and tools than our Border Patrol agents? That will change with House Republican leadership when we move this bill. And on top of that, just look at Elon Musk. I mean, the left wants to demonize Elon Musk. All Elon Musk is doing is identifying the waste, fraud, and abuse that we have all known has been out there in government. Tens of billions of dollars in every agency being wasted, thrown away. Stacey Abrams given $2 billion to do who knows what. But that's all changing. And what are the Democrats doing? You would think they would say, you know what? They got us on that one. We'll work with Trump and Elon to root out waste, fraud, and abuse. No, they are fighting that. There is a major party in America called the Democrat Party that is defending waste, fraud, and abuse in Washington. You can't make this stuff up. But it doesn't end there. We identified before the election that about 75% of federal workers in Washington weren't even showing up for work. You have to show up for work. Our constituents have to show up for work. Yet these bureaucrats were making over $100,000 a year, not showing up for their jobs, and the job wasn't getting done. And President Trump, day one, said, you better show up for work. Now, you don't have to, but if you don't, you lose your job. Well, man, lo and behold, they all started finding their workplace. Not to work, but to protest. Look, what we have done with this majority in just 3 months is only the beginning. When you see these policies start going into law, Trump's first week in office, we had the Lake and Riley bill on his desk. We're putting 2 more on his desk this week to reverse some of the crazy financial regulations. When we get this big bill on his desk to lock in tax rates, to produce more energy, to secure the border, to lock in DOGE savings, and all the other things we're doing, including strengthening America's national defense, watch what happens to the economy. And all the naysayers, the press will never be on our side. They'll never tout the wins. But this President Trump has come here on a mission. I got to work with President Trump in the first term, and everybody watching knows this. They see a president more focused. They see a president more resolved than ever before to fight for those families who worked hard, showed up at the polls, and said, we want Republicans in the House, Senate, and White House to save this great nation. We are just getting started. You've been there every step of the way with us. We're going to grow this majority. We just, by the way, got 2 more House Republicans last week. 2 elections in Florida. We won. Randy Fine and Jimmy Petronis are probably here tonight. Let's welcome our 2 new Republicans. We doubled our House majority. And think about this. I'm going to leave you on this note. Because a lot of you, when you're donating money, you wonder about your return on investment. I want to just tell you our return on investment versus the Democrats. Last week, the Democrats spent $22 million to lose those 2 seats in Florida by double digits. We spent less than $2 million to win those seats by double digits. That's a return on investment. That's why this is the best investment you can make in this House Republican majority. Let's keep growing, let's keep winning, and let's save the greatest country in the history of the world, the United States of America. God bless you. God bless our president. We're going to have a great night.
All right, so that's Congressman Steve Scalise from Louisiana. I believe Mike Johnson is up next, so as soon as they do the intro and cut to the music, we'll go ahead and take him. Not really sure how much longer it is before he comes up, but they seem to be moving people in and out very quickly. So we'll see. We'll stick with it. Hope you're enjoying it. I mean, these guys are fired up. But I need more than speeches. I need more than pep speeches. I need you guys to get stuff done. Actually get in there and get stuff done. All right, Mike Johnson is coming up next. He's heading to the podium. As soon as the intro music stops and he begins to talk, we shall cut right to it. Hope he's got something good to say tonight.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you. What a great crowd. What an extraordinary setting. I love this building. It always reminds me of the Sound of Music. You know, it feels like we're in Austria or something. Really, really grateful to see all of you. I want to thank Chairman Richard Hudson. What a great leader he is for the Nrcc and the entire team. Lot of gratitude to hand out tonight. I want to thank our entire House leadership team. I want to thank our extraordinary members. So many of them are joining us here tonight. And of course, most importantly, we want to thank all of you for making this possible this evening. This is a big one for us, and we shattered all the records, and I promise you we are going to be a good steward of those resources. We have a big job ahead of us. We truly have a lot to be grateful for tonight, a lot to celebrate, not the least of which is this fact. I don't know if you've been following this, but We now officially have a 7-seat majority, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I know. Do the math, okay? It means that we can lose 3 votes now and still pass a bill. It's an embarrassment of riches, I tell you. This job is so easy. This is our first week with our 2 newest members, and they were mentioned earlier, but Jimmy Patronis and Randy Fine of Florida have joined us. Round of applause. And with these 2 great new members, we have gained our number again. We're back to 220 Republicans, and every single one of them are fired up to advance the people's business and to make America great again. Ladies and gentlemen, we simply would not, with our 2 newest members, and they were mentioned earlier, but Jimmy Patronis and Randy Fine of Florida have joined us. Round of applause. And with these 2 great new members, we have gained our number again. We're back to 220 Republicans, and every single one of them are fired up to advance the people's business and to make America great again. Ladies and gentlemen, we simply would not be able to do this if it were not for 2 things. First, incredible support from leaders like all of you. And second, our 45th and our 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. That's a fact. Now, you all rolled your sleeves up this last cycle, and we worked around the clock to ensure that we kept the House majority. And because we all worked so hard, we secured a unified Republican trifecta in Washington. Everybody said we couldn't do it. My friends, I mean, up to the evening before the election, they were writing our epitaph. They said that the Republican majority would go by the wayside. They said there were too many Republicans in Democrat territory last cycle. The Democrats had too much money. They did raise a lot. They said the Democrats' redistricting was too much for us to overcome. But we didn't believe that. The leadership team and every member went to work. The Nrcc refused to listen to all of that criticism. We got to work. We shored up our incumbents. We recruited incredible workhorses from coast to coast. Like so many of our members, I crisscrossed the country nonstop. I mean, almost literally every day we were not in session, I was on the road. I did over 360 campaign events, 250 cities in 40 states. I logged enough miles to circle the globe 5.5 times. That's a real statistic. Some of y'all know I was 4 inches taller when I became Speaker of the House. They beat me down mercilessly. But we all did that. All the members worked around the clock and overtime to get that done. And along with our partners at CLF, the Congressional Leadership Fund, my team, we raised $332 million in 11 months to be able to do that. And many of you wrote the checks to make that possible. Thank you for that. Thank you. So here's what happened, and you know, the reason we're here tonight, the reason we're celebrating what we have achieved and looking forward to the challenge ahead is because everybody got to work and made that happen. Our House Republicans defended our majority. We achieved the highest popular vote in history. And we flipped seats in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Colorado, and Alaska. And now we're enacting a bold America First agenda to deliver on that mandate. We hit the ground running since January 3rd. We've been very busy. You've been watching this day by day. We've been defying the odds. We've been making the critics be quiet. Just a small sample of the legislation we passed includes the Laken-Riley Act, which is to save lives from the Biden border crisis. The Illegitimate Court Counteraction Act to defend Israel. We passed the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act. That's right. We passed the Violence Against Women by Illegal Aliens Act, the Halt Fentanyl Act, the Protecting American Energy Production Act, and our government funding bill that put the Democrats on record for supporting a government shutdown and actually ignited a civil war, a political civil war in their camp. Through it all, Republicans in Congress have stayed laser focused on advancing common sense, pro-growth policies. And the American people have taken note. Our party right now, my friends, enjoys record high levels of approval. And today, more Americans believe the country's on the right track than at any point in the last 20 years. That's a big thing. In the weeks ahead, we're going to continue to hammer out the budget reconciliation bill, which will be one of the most consequential pieces of legislation that Congress has passed in decades and perhaps in the history of the Congress. Republicans here are committed to delivering President Trump's full America First agenda with that one big, beautiful bill. I'm not going to do it in his voice, okay? We're going to make good on our promises. And what does that mean? We're going to secure the border. We're going to restore America's energy dominance. We're going to dismantle the deep state. We're going to grow our economy and reduce inflation. And we're going to turn America to peace through strength. House Republicans are moving full steam ahead to move the one big, beautiful bill across the finish line and onto the president's desk as quickly as possible. Through all this, we are also implementing our game plan for 2026. And this is what's important to everybody here. What you're investing in tonight is the plan that we're going to take into the field. Our work over just the past months has broken the Democrat Party. While we are at record high approval levels, they are at record lows. They're negative 9% net approval in their own party right now, the Democrats in Congress. Their ideas are radical, their agenda was rejected, and their chances at a majority in 2024 were soundly defeated. Now they have no leader, no message. They have no vision for the country other than to double down on their failed, terrible policies, and they're sending out their emerging new leaders like AOC and Bernie Sanders. That's where they are, right? But we know that they will stop at nothing to get back in the majority in 2026. And if they were able to do that, my friends, heaven forbid, the president's agenda would come grinding to a halt after 2 years. We would see a return to open borders policies. We would see impeachments and corrupt lawfare resurrected. And we would see the largest tax increase in American history. We cannot allow that to happen, and the American people agree. And that's why tonight, I have never been more confident and optimistic about the future of our party, our movement, and our country. The media loves to underestimate us. They love to be naysayers, but we have proven them wrong over and over again, and we will continue to do so. I'm convinced that when we deliver on our agenda this Congress, we will not only defy expectations, but we'll defy history in 2026. It won't be easy. We're going to need every single one of you to get us over the finish line. In the last election, we saw a once-in-a-generation demographic shift, and I believe we're going to hold those voters, those new people that came into the party, and we now have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to deliver on those promises. I'll close with this. All of this is not possible without the leadership of a great president. President Trump once delivered the greatest economy in the world, and he will do it again with a little time and a Congress that helps him get there. President Trump once delivered a secure border, and he has already delivered that again. President Trump once restored peace through strength, and he is already doing that again by bringing hostages home, supporting our allies like Israel, and getting our adversaries to the negotiating table. These are the reasons that we're so bullish about the historic moment that we are in right now. We're all in this together, and President Donald J. Trump is leading the way. So tonight, we want to thank you all again for your support and your trust in us. I want to assure you that we will not let you down. God bless you for standing with us. We appreciate you so much.
I wish they'd give us a shot of the audience. I'd love to know who's sitting there, how many people are in this audience. Probably, I guess, from how they've been saying things, it seems like it's a lot of donors and things of that nature because they keep thanking the people in the audience. So it's probably quite a bit of people, the money people are there. Not sure who's next. I would assume if the speaker went that probably the next person up would be President Trump. So we shall see. This is taking place at the Washington, D.C. National Building Museum. And not seeing who's coming up, so we'll just take some comments here. Beloved, I am present bright around Mike Johnson. Seal your tube of light. Yes, Schumer is, based on what we saw Elon say earlier, yeah, Schumer might be in a little bit of hot water. I mean, that was a tongue-in-cheek thing he said, but between Caroline Leavitt saying there's something big coming and President Trump saying there's something big coming, And with Elon Musk kind of just dropping that tongue-in-cheek jab at Chuck Schumer, something is probably coming. And then you say to yourself, well, why are they waiting? Well, if it's legal, if there's something legal involved, like they can actually show that somebody fraudulently took some money, well, it's going to take some time for Pam and Cash and everybody to put a case. You can't. Here's one of the things I just want to tell you guys. They cannot even think about arresting one of these Democrats as much as we want it. They cannot even think about arresting any of these Democrats unless they have an ironclad case. Just remember that. The arrest doesn't mean anything. They're going to have so many people looking to defend them. They're going to dissect every single thing. So one of the reasons we're probably not seeing any big name arrests, because you want to make sure, unlike they did, when they went for Trump and it didn't go anywhere, I'm pretty sure Pam Bondi, President Trump, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, we need a case that once the media sinks their teeth into it, we know it's not going anywhere. So that's why I think that they're having to take their time and make sure. I'm seeing the normal guys who come up and check the microphone and stuff for President Trump. That guy's got a great job. Don't screw up, bro. Because he's been doing it for quite some time. While we're waiting for him to do that, let me tell you about the Trump knives. And you guys have been seeing me. I've been talking about it. I will keep talking about it. Many of you are getting the Trump knife. They're a great sponsor of the channel. So if you feel like you want to help the channel, help out Patriot Addict. They're doing right now, this is the Trump knife. It says Trump. It's heavy. It is a very, very, very strong knife. Very sharp. Going to make sure I don't cut myself as I open it. And you can see, I mean, you can't see, but it's got some weight. People in here right now can tell you this is not a flimsy knife. It is pretty big. You can see how long that entire knife is. As I've done my best Vanna White imitation, I've shown you it's got the slicer for the seat belt in case you get stuck inside of a car. It's got the window breaker in case you need to bust open a window for any reason. This is a pretty good knife. It normally retails for $70, but they're giving it away for free. And all you've got to do to win is go over here, not win, it's not a contest, is pay for shipping, $13.99. You can do the QR code, or you can go to berryknife.com. Go to berryknife.com if you can't use the QR code. If you can use the QR code, go over here. But this thing is moving off the shelves. I'd love for you guys to get one before it's too late. You don't want these things to just be completely gone. So I would, if I were you, make sure you grab one if you're interested. Makes a great gift. And they're not just a novelty item. This thing is functional. If you fish, you do stuff in the yard, all kinds of things like that. This is something you're going to want to, use. And so get it. Get you some. Let me close it so I don't cut myself or anything. So they're doing some stuff here, waiting for Trump to come out. This is just Patriot Addict's way of thanking you and thanking Trump supporters and thanking my viewers. So if you want it, go ahead and click on the QR code right there. Or go to berryknife.com. Thank you very much. Excuse me. All right, so while we're waiting for President Trump, and I can see if he walks out, I want to finish the video I had been showing you. And a lot of it, the entire thing is a report by Monica Page, who filed the report for Frontline, and she's talking about what happened today in the earlier speech with the drilling, the energy, and the coal. So I'm gonna show you this, and then, like I said, after this video, I'm going to upload the entirety of the speech. So let's take a listen.
Signs an executive order to unleash American energy, fulfilling another promise he made on the campaign trail.
We're bringing back an industry that was abandoned, despite the fact that it was just about the best, certainly the best in terms of power, real power. And I'm very honored to be doing this. I call it beautiful, clean coal. I told my people never use the word coal unless you put beautiful, clean before it. And all those plants that have been closed are going to be opened. If they're modern enough, or they'll be ripped down and brand new ones will be built. Now, we're going to put the miners back to work, and I said I was going to do this, and I've said it loud and clear, and it's time to do it, and we need it.
This move specifically takes aim at reviving the American coal industry in his most aggressive step yet to restore this industry's relevance, as coal's share of U.S. power generation has fallen from over 50% to under 20% since the year.
So you can tell what he's doing here. He's taking China on a number of different fronts. We are no longer acquiescing and just raising the white flag to China. We are going after China all over the place. As you saw, Pete Hegseth was down at the Panama Canal today, letting everybody know we are going to be taking back the Panama Canal. So he's basically got China on the run, or at least going to make them defend all over the place. We're not taking China, and we're not taking the crap from China anymore. And all you liberal nuts out there exploding about coal and worried about climate change, that game's over. That game is over. We have to have this energy. Even if you feel, kind of weird about coal and you don't think it's something we should be doing, remember the objective. The objective is AI. One of the other objectives is Bitcoin. In order to really be at the forefront of AI and Bitcoin, we are going to need a whole lot of power, a whole lot of energy. I'm telling you, we're going to see nuclear plants pop up as well. So we're going to have coal. We're going to have nuclear, obviously drilling, because we need that to compete on a world stage.
The reason for the drop over the last 2.5 decades, the president said, is due to environmental rules, which he believes has unfairly targeted coal.
And we're opening up our coal mines again, and we're going to do, I call it beautiful, clean coal. The technology is so good now that coal can give you tremendous power. At the same time, it can be very clean.
As a result, this executive order will direct the Interior and Energy departments to support coal production and prevent retirements of existing plants. It will also restart coal leasing on federal lands, label coal as a critical mineral, and tell agencies to stop favoring cleaner energy, building on actions he took during his first term. In light of recent tariffs, the president is also looking at ramping up fossil fuel exports internationally, as well as the major tech companies that have invested trillions of dollars into our country to run on it. President Trump...
When you put all that together, you smell that? That means money. This is everything that the Biden and Democrats didn't want to see happen. That's why they are disintegrating on television. They understand a prosperous American is an American that won't look at the Democrat Party anymore. Just remember where we were, where we're going. The word I keep using is contrast, and people who have a brain are going to look and say, here's where we were, here's where we are, here's where we're going. And that stuff is huge. Huge to American people. What I told you the other day, some guy said, why don't you tell people you're embarrassing yourself with your lack of integrity? I'm like, I know what we want as a couple. I know what I want as a grandfather and a father, and I want prosperity. And there's no prosperity on the horizon with the Democrats. They don't talk about any prosperity. I don't need a living wage. I need the government to get out of my way. I don't need entitlement programs. I need you to get out of the way, move the regulations, and we'll take care of ourselves. There are so many people who want to hit the ground running, that want to just enjoy things. And the Democrats are miserable. Absolutely miserable people. When you see them walking around, and I'm not even talking about the dog heads at this point, I'm just saying, look at some stuff on X. Do you ever see happy Democrats? They're always complaining. The world sucks. Republicans and MAGA suck. They're just not happy people. Maybe because they don't have that inner joy either. But how can you just exist in anger, exist in protest, and you don't look at anything and say, you know, I want to seize on opportunity. I'd like to be prosperous. Nope, they never talk about it. They never. Just watch if you want to see the different things on news. You check for yourself and you tell me when you ever hear Democrats talk about prosperity. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. In fact, just the opposite. You'll own nothing and be happy. I don't even know how you say that to people. You'll own nothing, you'll eat the bugs, you'll live in the pod, and you'll be happy. No, I won't. I refuse.
Is betting that powering these data centers with this fossil fuel will keep the United States steps ahead of China.
You know, we need to do the AI, all of this new technology that's coming online. We need more than double the energy, the electricity that we currently have. You take all of the electricity in the country right now for houses, for buildings, for everything. We need to more than double it to...
I'm thinking about that scene in Back to the Future. 1.6 gigawatts. You take all of the power across the country, and we have to, at minimum, double that. That's a daunting task. I mean, just think about that. All of the power you see, when you turn your lights on in your home, when you go to a store, when you go to a restaurant, when you're just out there, and think to yourself, we need to double all of this. If we want to run with the big dogs and lead, not follow, we want to lead. We want to be leaders in AI. We want to be leaders in Bitcoin. And we want you, the American people, to have enough power to do what you want. We need double what we have right now. What does that mean to you? What does that sound like to you? Well, in order to have double the energy, you got to have double, well, at least the manpower. That coal ain't coming out of the ground by itself. Those rigs ain't drilling by themselves. Well, they do once you get them set up. Those trucks driving them across the country filled up with gas and diesel. That's a lot of jobs. That's a lot of jobs.
Be number one. We're now way ahead of everybody at AI. China's in second place, but way behind. And they're going to be producing a lot of energy and a lot of electricity for this.
This executive order falls in line with a number of American energy initiatives aimed at restoring domestic independence, ultimately ending Joe Biden's war on American energy.
Today, we're taking historic action to help American workers, miners, families, and consumers. We're ending Joe Biden's war on beautiful, clean coal once and for all.
As it stands, President Trump declared a national energy emergency in order to unlock America's full energy potential and bring down costs for American families. Drill baby.
I don't know if you caught that, but in that screenshot she had, crude was $59 a barrel. $59 a barrel. You are going to see over the next couple weeks gas prices plummet, not lower, plummet. How did the Democrats combat that? Oh no, it's bad that you can buy cheap gas. We're heading into spring and summer. People want to travel. This is fantastic. If we're opening up the drilling and people can get cheaper gas, how is that possibly bad? Oh, the caribou or something. Nuts.
The president also reopened 625 million acres for offshore drilling, something former President Biden banned during his final months. And President Trump ended the liquefied natural gas pause, approving the first LNG project since the Biden administration banned them also last year. Many say this will help energy be more efficient, reliable, and affordable for all Americans. From the White House for Frontlines with Turning Point, I'm Monica Page.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you very much for that report. We loved it. We love it. We love it. She's awesome. Man. And so all this is happening. At the same time, news keeps breaking. It just keeps coming. As we're waiting for President Trump to take the stage, they're still doing their things. SV just sent me a link, and I'm just thinking to myself, is this real? Is it real? Because I don't know this source, so I'm going to look. SV, look around if you see anybody else posting this. But if it's true, this is huge. So I'm going to show you this, and then while President Trump is talking, I'm going to try to verify it with a much larger source. But if this is true, this is earth-shattering. Just in, IRS chief is set to resign following agreement to share data with law enforcement. OMG. If the chief of the IRS, head honcho at the IRS is actually resigning, that is going to be monstrous news. I'm not sure again of that source. I'm looking around. Yep, okay, I've got a source that I absolutely trust, and it is true. IRS chief to quit over deal to share data with authorities. So, just so you understand what that means, there's a deal for the IRS to share whatever data they have with law enforcement. And that is to go after what they were doing and how they were targeting conservatives and everything else. And rather than work with Pam Bondi, they're running. They are it says she resigns over deal to provide ICE as well with illegals' tax information to help find illegals they are trying to deport. These people are just losing it. She was only the acting... Oh, that page went away. She was only the acting page. Let me see if I can find anybody else I trust here. This is from Diligent Dennison. Breaking acting IRS Chief Melanie Krause resigns over IS agreement to share data with immigration authorities. There are many leftist creatures in the swamp. All right, so they run. When they're forced their hand, she would rather leave her job. She would rather quit than be honest with ICE. These people are embedded so deep into our government. I can't even believe this stuff is happening. That we have people like that who would rather die on the sword helping illegals than work with our law enforcement. Yeah, it's real. I'm seeing it everywhere now. Autism Capital. This is one of Elon's people. IRS chief resigns over deal to provide ICE with newcomer tax information. Man, if you're a newcomer at this point, head for the border. I mean, just go. There's so many things coming to enforce immigration, and now they're going to have information on your money. Wow. Which makes you wonder, why does the IRS have so much data on newcomers? Oh, that's right, because they were working jobs, and they had Social Security numbers and everything else that Biden gave them. Wow. And she would rather quit than actually do that job. And then the best source, yes. Okay, so now we can say this is 100% true. Mario Naufal just posted it. IRS chief to resign over deal to share immigrant tax data with DHS. Acting IRS Commissioner Melanie Krause is stepping down reportedly over a controversial agreement to share undocumented immigrants' tax records with Homeland Security. She'll resign under the government's deferred exit program offered to employees this week. The data sharing deal has sparked internal backlash and raised major privacy concerns, especially over how tax info might be used in immigration enforcement. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. They don't even know what to do. They at this point don't have any idea what to do. And as I said earlier, so many things are hitting them from so many different directions. What do? I mean, earlier I told you about this, and you guys have heard many people talk about it. The White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, confirmed that the Doge has made a discovery. The specifics of this discovery have not been disclosed yet, and President Trump is expected to provide more information in the coming days. The announcement has created anticipation among the public, but details remain under wraps until an official statement is released. This is getting crazy, absolutely crazy. don't worry, we're not missing anything. They're still doing sound checks and background checks on the stage, so you haven't missed anything. President Trump has not come out. All right, so President Trump put this out about an hour and a half ago. He writes here, I had a very good meeting today with Speaker of the House, obviously Mike Johnson, and some of our more conservative members, all great people. I let them know that I am for major spending cuts. We are going to do reductions, hopefully in excess of $1 trillion, all of which will go into one big, beautiful bill. I, along with House members and senators, will be pushing very hard to get these large-scale spending cuts done, but we must get the bill approved now. Make America great again. Wow. I mean, it's 7:30 at night. We're waiting for President Trump to come on stage, and the hits just keep coming. They just keep coming. Let's talk yet. Style Shade says the storm is here. Yeah, I think we can pretty much say the storm has arrived for sure. Let's see here. Guess I don't understand about the IRS chief, so she was given illegal. All right, so let's dig into this IRS chief. So the person who was the head of the IRS chief, somebody made an agreement. I'm just looking at SB sending me stuff. Somebody made an agreement to exchange this information with law enforcement. And what she's doing, and that's why it's hard to understand, is she doesn't want to share information with law enforcement about the newcomers. So she's actively trying to defy what President Trump is trying to do. Openly, actively defying. And so she feels so strong about this, so strongly, that she would rather lose her job, probably paying in excess, I don't know, $150,000, $160,000 a year for the sole reason that, oh my God, the newcomers, it's just not right. We shouldn't be trying to deport them. These people are so embedded. I mean, like, go away. Man, it just drives me nuts. The President of the United States says, here's what I want to do. And you say to everybody, I'm going to quit so I don't have to work with the President. You should have done that in January. Why'd you waste all this time? It's crazy. Trump is the storm. He sure is. I smell a cover-up. Yeah, IRS kind of, they handle a lot of money, right? Yeah. I can't even imagine what Elon Musk has uncovered. I think it's going to be eye-opening. But again, we're not going to see any arrests until they got this thing buckled down. You don't want to take a shot. You don't want to take a shot and then miss. Speaking of Elon Musk, I'm looking at something he posted a little while ago. Let's take a look at this. All right, Elon posted this, and it says FAFO time. Who's paying people to burn Teslas? DOJ and Congress probing the money trail. Ooh. Hope that's not what they're finding out. I hope that they're not digging in and finding out who's actually spending the money here. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be crazy if there's Democrats tied into this stuff? Wow. There's something going on. There's definitely something going on. When it comes to the number of rats in government, there's a conveyor belt to infinity. Can she go to jail, Barry? And can they get all the info from records in the IRS? Pretty much, I would bet you they already have the information. If there was already some sort of, I don't know, edict or executive order, they weren't waiting on her to give it to them. I'm sure whatever they needed, they already have. So she was just there, wanting to be a martyr. Can she go to jail? Well, if she broke the law, sure. If she tried to delete files, I don't know. We shall find out. Maybe she's worried about, where'd that go? Maybe she's worried about elimination. You're going to see some people falling on the sword? I don't know. All right, looking at the stage, they changed it over, made it a different color in the background, but President Trump still as of right now, hasn't walked out. Yeah, Toy, just leave. The trouble they're causing right now is making it worse for them. You might as well just head for the border. Just on your way by, just go ahead, stop at Taco Bell, fill up on some food, and just get out. I think we're going to see that ramp up. This is becoming, just imagine, if you were a newcomer and now they have IRS data and now they're going to charge you $1,000 a day. Now they're going to do this. Now they're going to do that. And they may end up grabbing you and shipping you to some prison in El Salvador where you're never getting out. I'm getting out now. Even if I'm Tren de Tres Leches, all these people, I'm getting out. I would definitely get out. Why is this a surprise? Democrats seem to love burning cities. You don't see them complaining. No, but these aren't the foot soldiers that are getting in trouble. That's where the difference is. Finally, we have people falling on the sword who are an upper level people. Pelosi, Pelosi, I haven't seen her much lately. It was an agreement between Bessent and Kristi Noem under the directive of Trump. She can't override it because Bessent is her boss, Secretary of the Treasury. Yep, exactly right. So they've gone to full screen here, so President Trump should be coming out momentarily. Yes, here he comes. He's walking out, probably to music. I probably can't put it on, so let's see what happens if I bet you, I wonder, I haven't heard YMCA lately. All right, so they're playing the Lee Greenwood song at this point. As you can see, President Trump walking out to God Bless the USA. They changed everything to a blue color, so he's basically has a tint to him tonight because they made it was a goldish background, but they've made it blue for President Trump. Guy's looking dapper tonight with the black tie there. Looking absolutely dapper. Man, looks like he doesn't have a care in the world. Remember, this is his, 30 men of the day? He just keeps going. It's 7:36. He's probably going to talk for 30, 40 minutes, lay down some good information. He's probably going to talk about China. That's got to be first and foremost on everybody's mind. In addition to the big, beautiful bill, he's got to be talking about and thinking about what are we doing with China. And we are literally at 4.5 hours away from the hammer dropping on China. That's huge. 12 midnight. Tick-tock, tick-tock. So he'll probably talk about that. He'll talk about I don't think he's going to drop any news about what they found or Doge found, but he's probably going to talk about energy. He's probably going to talk about the different things that he's getting done. He may talk about the court cases, all of that stuff. You have to think, he's speaking in front of donors. He understands he's probably got a really important audience tonight. And what are the biggest things these people want to care about? These people care about the economy. They're big money people. So I'm pretty sure he's going to come out there and hit it out of the park talking about China, why he's doing it with China, how he sees it all playing out. He's going to talk about the other countries that are coming to cut deals. Japan has already said they want a deal. So expect that. And here we go with President Trump heading to the microphone.
Well, thank you very much. This is a great room. And, we've done very well in this room before, but right now we broke every record. I just heard from Mike Johnson. He said, we broke every record, sir. There is over $35 million. That's not bad for an evening. For an evening, that's not bad. I wonder if you ever turn the room this way. It's interesting because I love real estate. I love ballrooms. I have nice ballrooms, a lot of them. I wonder if they ever turned it this way instead. So might be interesting. This way I'm not talking to a wall. They think they get a better view, but actually I'm not sure. But next time maybe we'll have to worry about that next year. Well, we'll do 45 or 50 million, right? I mean, a lot of people, you broke your record attendance and you broke your money record, and that's a great tribute to the Republicans and the party and everything it stands for. And it's wonderful. And I want to thank especially Speaker Mike Johnson, because he's been incredible. And we have some unbelievable supporters of our House Republican majority with us, as you know, and with the help of everyone in this room. The next year's Republican Party is going to defy history. We're going to really defy it, and we already are. We're getting things done. It's going to be very interesting to see. This is going to be a very interesting year. We have an interesting time. We're making a fortune with tariffs, $2 billion a day. Do you believe it? I was told $2 billion a day. You know, I get hit by the press about tariffs. We're making $2 billion. This isn't 35 million, that's peanuts. $2 billion a day. And then they say, gee, they don't know. You know, this is only the enemy can be talking this way. In addition, we have a lot of countries coming to see us that want to make a deal. And we're doing things that nobody's ever even thought about doing. And we're going to defeat the radical left Democrats who are out there complaining about everything. All they do is complain, and then they want to put men and women's sports and things like that. They want men and women's sports. They're still fighting for that. I saw this poor guy. You all know him. I won't mention his name. He's sort of a nice guy. He's a loser. He's a Democrat, but he's a loser. And he was fighting on a big show this morning. We've got to have that. It's not fair that, essentially, that men aren't allowed to compete against women. Can you believe this guy? But let them do it. I say we shouldn't be fighting a lot of these things. Just let them go. And then just before the next election, we'll unleash on them. Because it would be very sad if they actually changed their policies. We don't want that to happen. But we're going to win the midterm elections, and we're going to have a tremendous, thundering landslide. I really believe that, and it's so important that we pass the big, beautiful bill, because that's going to be, and I really think we're helped a lot by the tariff situation that's going on, which is a good situation, not a bad. It's great. It's going to be legendary. You watch. Legendary in a positive way, I have to say. It's going to be legendary. But I really think it actually puts pressure on those few Republicans that just can't get there. You know what the alternative is? A Democrat bill or a chapter for the country. You know, we have the debt continuation. And they have to do this. They have to get there. And I think we are there. We had a great meeting today. I think we are there. But just in case there are a couple of Republicans out there, you just got to get there. Close your eyes and get there. It's a phenomenal bill. Stop grandstanding. Just stop grandstanding. Boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. You know, their policy, the Democrats, is horrible. It's horrible. Think of it, open borders. Just all of the horrible, stupid things they have. You don't have energy. You don't have anything. They've lost their confidence. Everything is bad. But the one thing, they always vote in unison. You don't see somebody that's holding up. I'm going to hold up. And the alternative is hell. You know, the alternative is hell. So the Republicans, just that one little thing the Republican Party has to do is get together and damn vote. If you're a single guy or a second guy, and you fight like hell for what you get, and then in the end you have to vote because the policy is phenomenal. You know, they don't get every little ounce. It doesn't work that way. And this bill that we're working on now is the best I think we've ever passed. Mike, wherever you may be, it's the best. I think it's the best thing we'll get it passed. But I think it's going to be the most important thing we've ever passed. It's the best thing we've ever passed. And I do think that the war with the world, which is not a war at all, because they're all coming here. Japan is coming here as we speak. They're in a plane flying, lots of them, all tough negotiators. But things that people wouldn't have given us 2 years ago, wouldn't have even thought of it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 7, they're giving us everything. They don't want tariffs on themselves. And it's very simple. We're making deals, and people are paying tariffs. Countries are paying tariffs. Right now, China's paying a 104% tariff. Think of it, 104%. Now, it sounds ridiculous, but they charged us for many items 100%, 125%. Many countries have. They've ripped us off left and right. But now it's our turn. to do the ripping. That's okay. We're going to make our country even stronger than it ever was. In 2026, Republicans will fight for every state, every seat, and every single vote. We're going to fight like hell. I intend to personally campaign for candidates all across the country, and we just won't. You're right about that. We won't just keep our majorities. We want to expand our majorities by a lot. You know, there's this thing about midterm elections that you have a president and they never seem to win. I don't understand. They never seem to win the midterm elections, and I have no idea why. You know, we're not going to let that be a self-fulfilling prophecy. I have no idea why. We're setting records right now. We're getting more things approved than any president has ever done in the first 100 days. It's not even close. I had somebody say the most successful first month in the history. Now they said the most successful 100 days in the history of our country, and I believe that's right. And we're going to continue that way, if not more so. And we're going to do tremendously in midterms. There's no reason we should do great in the midterms. There's this thing that, for some reason, the president, whoever the president is, the midterms are tough. Why would they be tough? If we're doing great, they should be easy. And I'm telling you, we got to win a lot more. But as Mike said before, I happened to listen to him. He was on C-SPAN 1. That's a big upgrade, right? I was listening as I was putting on the tie. How does it look? He was on C-SPAN 1, and they were talking about that. And I thought to myself, because people love him and they love your leaders, really the party is just doing well. A couple we could do without, to be honest with you, but the party is doing well, and there's no reason we shouldn't just get together and win these midterms and win them by a lot, because 7 that I heard Mike talking about before, 7 is not really enough. But we lived for 1 for a period of time. You know, the only thing good about 7, when you have 1, and now all of a sudden you have 7, it sounds like it's like a landslide. It's so good. It's like the most amazing thing. 7 sounds so good when I hear that. It sounds like we can't be beaten. And we should be 50, 60 up. Honestly, we should be 100 up, because based on policy, these people have the worst policy that anybody's ever seen. There's something wrong with them. Honestly, there's something wrong with them, all this crap. 13 House Democrats currently represent districts that voted for Trump, and voted for Trump big. And in 2026, we're going to tell them, all 13, that you're fired, get out, get out. No reason for that, 13, but 13 is a small number compared to some of these stats. We are going to work very hard. I'm going to do tele-rallies. You know tele-rallies? I'll do rallies for a lot of you, but I'll do tele-rallies at a minimum. And we just had 2 great elections, by the way, and I heard everybody is introducing our 2 new Congress. Where are they, please? Stand up. I want to look you in the eye. I want to look you in the eye, Randy. Look at the 2 of them. What a job you did, man. Huh? You were never in doubt. Where's our second person here? I know there he is. Boy, they gave him a lousy seat. He's behind. Great job. We're proud of you, man. Great job. Great job. Thank you. And, you know, both elections, they were saying, it's going to be close. It's going to be close. And I was listening, and they won by you won by what, 17 points, 18 points? I don't think that's close. I don't think it's close. So we won by 15 and 18 points. And they're saying it was a terrible evening for Trump. Can you believe it? Terrible evening. They only won by 18 points and 15 points. Anyway, good job, both of you. Good job. But in addition to our fantastic House Speaker, we're pleased to be joined by Majority Leader Steve Scalise. And I watched you too, Steve. I watched you on C-SPAN 1, and Steve has suffered greatly. I mean, I was there the night that it looked like he wasn't going to make it. He's very brave. He suffered greatly. And I tell the story about the baseball game where, I mean, he was really, the doctor told me, sir, I've never had anybody lose so much blood. It's not looking good. And his wife loved him. She was such a disaster that night. She was crying. She was crying, because I've been with people that were in serious trouble and the wives couldn't care. They couldn't care less. fact, after they recovered, I said, do yourself a favor, get rid of the wife. She couldn't. No, I'm only kidding, of course. I'm only kidding. I like to say I'm only kidding. That way, that cleans it up a little bit for the press. I say I was only kidding. No, I've seen some wives that were truly not bothered too much. I had one where the dog died and the husband died on the same day, and I said, it's too bad about Harry. No, but Lucy died, Lucy. Oh, my God. Harry didn't mean, he left her a fortune, too. Can you believe it? Harry didn't matter. The dog mattered a lot. But I was with Steve, and he was really, that was a tough thing. And then, amazingly, he was, like a year later, he was in the baseball game against the Democrats, and he's playing second base. And he was having a hard time. It's a hard time getting around. And with his luck, a shot was hit to him on the ground, a ground ball. And he got down, and that ball was, no way that ball was, it was right at him, but really, it was whacked. I don't know who the hell hit it. It looked like a major league ground ball. And Steve went down and blocked that sucker and got on his knees and threw it to first base. It was the most unbelievable thing that it could happen. This was God watching a game, I'm telling you. Does everybody remember that? He blocked it, knocked the hell out of his foot. Not his glove, it was his foot. And he got down and grabbed the ball, threw it out, and got the runner by quite a bit. And they then took him out of the game. And I said, what a great move. That was a good manager. They took him out of the game because you can't improve on that, let me tell you. But he had great courage, and amazing how he's done. And he's been very special, and all of us know it. He's really done great. Another man I've really gotten to know a lot, and I think he's fantastic, is Tom Emmer, Majority Whip. I think he's fantastic. Where's Tom? Where's Tom? Where is our Tom? Because I want to see his wife. His wife is better than him. He admits it. Oh, that's good. Hi, Tom. So where is she, Tom? Oh, no. She's not. She's home. She's watching C-SPAN. Yeah, I know. Thank you, Tom. Great job you do. And Lisa, you were up talking about Donald Trump tonight. And Lisa McLean, conference chair, she was talking about Trump. And I appreciate it, Lisa. Lisa, where are you, Lisa? This is like a roast. Thank you, darling. I saw your whole speech. I watched you and Steve and Mike. I watched the whole thing. Then they said, sir, we have to leave. You're going to be late. I said, I want to watch your speeches. And we have Richard Hudson, the Nrcc chairman, who set the record tonight. Richard, great going. That's a great job. And Brian Jack, who was with me from day one of my political career, he was so fantastic. He was so fantastic. And he came to me, he said, do you think it would be okay? He wanted to run for Congress. He always wanted to run for Congress. It was the most important thing. But he was with me, knows so much about politics and boxing. He knows a lot about boxing, too, but he loves politics. But he really just wanted to run. I think his ambition was to be a congressman. And the seat came due. A good member of Congress actually retired, and Brian in Georgia. And Brian said, what do you think, sir? I said, well, you got my endorsement. And he won by a lot, and he's never looked back. He's a fantastic guy and a great political leader, a great politician. Brian Jack. Where are you, Brian? Where are you, Brian? Hi, Brian. Great job. I'm proud of you, Brian. And more than 160 members of Congress, and I'd like to really, you've done incredibly well. They're really looking back. And, I said before, the Democrats have taken a lot of beatings. They have lost their confidence. They've gone crazy. They've gone crazy. How about this new one they have? Their new star, Crockett. How about her? Is that real? Are they serious about that? That's their new star? If that's their new star, they're in serious trouble. I mean, this is Crockett. Oh, man. But we've done a job, but they've totally lost their confidence. And it's a hard thing when you lose your confidence, but they've taken a lot of beatings, and now they're going to rely on Crockett to bring them back. Crockett's going to bring them back. You ever watch this? Last November, all the leaders here tonight were given a mandate from the American people, and At the presidential level, we won, think of this, all 7 swing states. We won the Electoral College 312 to 226. That's not bad. Remember? The fake news was saying it's going to be tough because people like Trump, but he should be able to get 270. I actually went to Nebraska and campaigned for 1 vote. I went to New Hampshire. I campaigned because they said that it could be we're at 270, 269. So I'm going to all the places and I'm trying to get 1. We won Nebraska big, but there was 1 area. And I went there. I went all over the place campaigning, and then we get 312. But we won in a landslide, too, because we won the popular vote for the first time of a Republican in decades. And now I think that's going to be done routinely. We won 85% of all counties in America, 525 for them and 2,725 for us. That's that map that you see. It's all red except for the 2 corners. They have a little blue, a little line of blue. For the first time in history, all 50 states shifted toward the Republican Party. First time in history. It's never happened. It's a shift. It shifted Republican. And today there are more registered Republicans than any time in the history of our country. How good? How about that? Meanwhile, approval ratings for the Democrat Party have plunged to the lowest level ever recorded. They're at 26%. So you tell me about the midterms, right? 26, the lowest level ever for either party. The Republican Party is a much bigger party now than it was ever before. And I must say that it's the biggest now since you heard the name Donald J. Trump running as a politician. You heard the name before, but not as a politician. I said to my wife, I think I'm going to do this thing. Do I have your approval? Yes, darling, I think you'll win. See, she's a supportive First Lady. I don't know if she believed it or not, but she said it. She said, yes, darling, I think you'll win. How do you think I'll do? Oh, darling, you'll win very easily. Even though I've never done it before. I said, I have one problem. I've never done it before. She said, that doesn't matter. You're so talented. I said, thank you very much. This is why we get along. It's easy to get along like that. But we have far more people and far more enthusiasm than the party's ever had. I think I could almost say than any party's ever had. I don't think any party's ever had more enthusiasm than us and spirit. A lot of that's our leadership. The Democrats are a broken party with bad policy. They've lost so much, and both as politicians and as people, they've lost. The stage is set for a monumental victory for the Republicans in the midterms. And many of you, I guess most of you, so many great congressmen and women here. You got some senators here also, but many of you all of you are up. We've got to win. We've got to work really hard, and we got to win, because there's no way they should be winning based on policy, and it's ultimately about policy. We simply have to keep our promises to the people, and we have to very simply put America first. Put America first. And I said, I ran on common sense. I ran because it sounds like a phrase that would have been used. I don't know. Nobody tells me it was used in politics before. Now everybody's using it. I see the Democrats, some Democrat guy who was a real sleazeball, got up. He said, yeah, I ran on common sense. That's what I did. Common sense. Yeah. And I said, gee, but the problem in politics, you come up with a little slogan and they copy it. But, they copied no tax on tips. Remember, I said no tax on tips. Nevada hadn't been won for many years by a Republican. And state of Nevada, and don't ever call it Nevada. You'll lose 25%. Call it Nevada. It's true. It seems almost nicer the other way. Nevada sounds like Brooklyn. Does that make sense? I come from Nevada. But don't ever call it Nevada. Call it Nevada. But as you know, the corrupt globalist establishment that ruled our country for decades is now complaining that I'm doing exactly what I pledged to do in the campaign. All of these things, tariffs, the men and women's sports, everything. The borders, strong borders. We have the strongest border we've ever had today. It was just announced. Strongest border. They don't want to write that. They forget. They forget. Eggs. I came in eggs. Not a very glamorous thing to talk, but eggs. I was in for 1 week, and they said, egg prices are soaring. I said, I've just been here. I didn't know this, please. I didn't know it. The fake news, they're going, egg prices are soaring. I said, man, I just got here. Let me know about it. What's going on with eggs? Tell me. So they gave me a little bit of a thing, and it's true. Under Biden, they soared like double, tripled, quadrupled. You couldn't even get them. They were not available. They said, don't use eggs for Easter. Use the plastic alternative plastic. We got, at Mar-a-Lago, we got plastic eggs all over the place. They said, don't use it for Easter. If you're doing an Easter egg hunt, do not use eggs. Well, we have a wonderful Secretary of Agriculture, as you know, Brooke Rollins. She's here someplace, I think. And she went after it. When she goes after something, we don't play games, right, Brooke? And egg prices are down now 87%, and you have all the eggs you want, 87%. And they didn't write about it. They don't talk about it. I go up, I make speeches about eggs all the time. I never get a reporter writing about it because we were successful. If you're a Republican, when you're successful in something, you have to toot your own horn. Talk about it because you're the only one that's going to. It's a rough business, I will tell you. But the shrill voices that you're hearing this week about tariffs are the same scoundrels and frauds who never thought twice about when the United States lost 90,000 factories and plants. Think of that, 90,000. How do you do 90? If you had a map, a big map the size of that wall, and you had a pin for each factory, you wouldn't have enough room. You think of it, 90,000 factories since NAFTA, the worst trade deal in history, by the way. And we had it terminated. Everybody said you'd never be able to. It had to be terminated by Congress, and it was not easy. It was so bad. The people have a lot of, it's very interesting, they have a lot of power. They have a lot of political power. It's hard to get even a bad deal terminated, but we did do it. And we got USMCA, and that's been really great. But when they cheat, it's not so good. And they cheat. They do cheat. I respect Mexico, I respect Canada, but they cheat like hell. Canada charges for our dairy products 270%. Nobody knows that. They charge you 2% for the first 2 cartons of milk. And after that, you go up to 270. And the press says, they've only charged 2%. No, that's for the first 2 cartons. So it's, we can't have that. And we have to be wise to it and get along with everybody, but we have to call people out. 6 million manufacturing jobs were lost since NAFTA when 21 million illegal aliens poured across our borders. Think of that, many of whom were violent criminals, murderers, drug lords, and the mentally insane. Insane asylums were closed. They used to go crazy when I talk about Hannibal Lecter, the late, great Hannibal Lecter, right? Silence of the Lambs. The fake news would say, why does he talk about that? He's a fictional character. He's actually not. We have many of them that came across the board. He's actually not. But when the people went to the voting booth, then we understood why he talked about that, because they voted for us. They said, we don't want Hannibal Lecter in our country. The great Hannibal Lecter, he was a very important force, but the press would go absolutely crazy if I mentioned Hannibal Lecter's name, because they said he's a fictional character. No, but it was making a point, and the point is they're emptying mental institutions and insane asylums. Not anymore, they're not. Insane asylums into our country. We had numbers, the likes of which nobody's ever seen anything like it. Other countries, I deal with other countries all the time. I am right now on tariffs where they want to make a deal with us. We don't necessarily want to make a deal with them. We're happy the way we are, taking our $2 billion a day. But they want to make a deal with us, and they talk about it, and they say, we cannot believe that they had open borders. These are countries, they have borders, and they don't let people into their country. They can't understand how. They did it because they're sick or they're crazy. There's something really wrong with these people. But the same people now telling me about how to deal with China are the ones who sold out America for decades to China. For decades, they gave up to China. I'm the only one that China, you know how much China's paid almost $700 billion in tariffs under me. And then they say, Donald Trump hasn't been tough on China. They say Trump hasn't been tough on Russia. Okay, here's the story. Nord Stream 2. Did anybody ever hear of it? It's the biggest pipeline in the world. I closed it. Russia had it. I closed it. Putin told me that's the worst thing. You're supposed to be friendly with me. I'd hate to see you as my enemy. I closed Nord Stream 2. When Biden got in, he opened it up immediately. It serviced all of Europe, going to Germany. It serviced all of Europe. We closed it, and they say, oh, he wasn't tough on Russia. I was very tough with the sanctions and everything else. And by the way, just for your information, we're trying like hell to get the fighting stopped between Russia and Ukraine. A thing that never would have happened if the election wasn't rigged. We had a rigged election. And we can say it and say it loud and say it proud because the election was rigged and we can't let that stuff happen anymore. Go to paper ballots, go to same-day voting, go to voter ID, go to citizenship. You have to prove your citizenship, a little piece of paper, and you won't have it. Sort of disappointing because a lot of Republican governors, they could do that. Same-day voting, paper ballots, very sophisticated paper, actually. It's all watermarked. You can't cheat. Very hard to cheat. France went that way. They were like us, and they were, having very bad elections, very crooked elections. They had 37 million people. They voted. They had a winner. They had a loser. They went home. That was it. 10 o'clock in the evening it was over. With us, you ever see, we have these machines that cost a fortune. And they say, we think we're going to have the final vote tally in 2.5 weeks. And wait a minute, this is election day. You ever see where in California they were counting votes 4 weeks later? And then they say, and by the way, all paper costs 8% of the machines. Why is it that Republican governors aren't going to it, okay? What's going on with our Republican governors? If nothing else, you say, even if it was just the same, and it's not, nothing's foolproof when it comes to voting, but it's pretty close. But it costs 8%. In other words, you can have your election 8% the cost of the machines, and you get an accurate count. So it's pretty amazing. They gave us NAFTA, mass illegal immigration, the Democrats did, the fake Paris Climate Accord, and the China's entry into the World Trade Organization. That was a wonderful day for us. China entered the World Trade. They've done pretty good. And, they didn't do things exactly by the books. And they were a developing nation. They still are. They say, we are a developing nation. We should be entitled to more. And our people say, oh, that's right, they're developing. They're not developing, we're developing. Look at some of our inner cities. We got to develop them. But we can't let the Democrats get away with this stuff. But we're developing more than they are. The globalists have been wrong about everything, and so I wear their attack on me because nobody has ever been attacked like a man named Donald J. Trump. In the history of our country, nobody's ever, but I wear it as a badge of honor. Nobody has ever been attacked. I was under more investigations than the late, great Al Capone. He was the most violent criminal. He was the most violent mob boss in history, and I was under investigation far more than him. It wasn't even close. Our opponents are not afraid that our America First policies will fail. They're terrified that our strategy will succeed and we're going to get bigger and stronger and better as a party, and that's what's happening, and that is what's happening. It's going to be something, and I'm actually looking forward to the midterms. I really are. We're going to prove that all of their treasonous years of betrayal will not be forgotten, because it's treason. What they did is treason. When they allowed millions of people to pour in through open borders from all over the world, they came. To me, that's treason. What they've done to our country is unthinkable. The money we have to spend to take people out, and then we have judges that say, no, let Trende Araqua come back into our country. They want him to come back in. Killers, they cut off a man's fingers because did you, sir, make a phone call to the police in Colorado? Yes, I did. You've attacked us and you've taken over our building. They took over real estate all over Colorado. You did, right? Give me your hand. Put the hand down. Boom. Cuts off his fingers. And they want him back. And how about the mix-up with the MS-13, where it wasn't a Trinidad, it was an MS-13 killer. And they said, oh, they got to mix up. Let's get them back into our country. No, we need people that are going to love our country. I'm proud to be the president for the workers, not the outsourcers. The president who stands up for Main Street, not Wall Street, who protects the middle class, not the political class, and who defends America, not trade cheaters all over the globe. They're trade cheaters. They cheated on us. They cheated with tariffs on us. They stole our money, they stole our jobs, and now people are going around saying, oh, we're not treating them right now. We're treating them very good, actually. They're lucky we're treating them so good. And, you know, when I have tariffs and I say, well, we're going to charge what they did. We're going to charge what they did. And then I say, I'm going to charge much less than they did. Believe me, we're actually being nice about it, but we're doing very well, better than we've ever done before. My job is not to maximize the profits of outsourcers and these foreign corporations are horrible. It's horrible what they're doing, but we're catching them. We're catching them by the dozens. My job is I have to defend the American dream, and I have to defend the American citizens. That's my job. I have to defend that. The American dream is never mentioned. It was mentioned for 4 years, and now it's being mentioned again, but it was never mentioned when we had Sleepy Joe in office. I used to have the hardest thing I had to do with Joe Biden is the nickname. Do I call him Sleepy Joe or Crooked Joe? Could we take a vote, please? Who wants to call him Crooked Joe? Who wants to call him Sleepy Joe? That's my problem. It's like the same. They both work. They both work beautifully. Joe had one ability that I didn't have. He said he was a good golfer. He's terrible. Somebody said the only time I got angry during our debate when he said he was a 6 handicap. He's not a 6. He's not a 36, okay? But he had one ability that I don't have. He was able to go to a beach, bathing suit in tow, because it looked like it was actually falling off. But he'd go, had a hard time walking through the sand because, sand is heavy on your feet. Carrying one of those 6-ounce chairs that are made out of aluminum that if you weigh a little bit too much, it just cracks in the middle when you sit down. And he could sit down in a beach with photographers on the beach. He's the president, so he had a minimum of photographers, but he still had photographers. And he could fall asleep. Who the hell could do that? Who could fall asleep? And he'd turn around and drool would be coming out. He didn't care. His wife didn't care. It's an ability that I could never fall asleep under those circumstances. I'd be very conscious of my body and what we look like. I'd be sitting up like this. Then I'd say, darling, it's time to go. Let's get out of here. Well, it wouldn't most people. This guy could go to the beach and he was out in seconds. Guys are shooting him. He'd be in the papers the next day, eyes closed, mouth open. The United States has been getting ripped off for 50 years, and we're simply not going to take it anymore, and that's what's happening right now. In 1950, the United States dominated global auto production, producing more than 75% of all of the cars on Earth. Think of that, 75% and even higher before that. Today we produce 11%, while China produces 3 times more than we do. Let me tell you something. With the tariffs that we're doing, as you know, we have tariffs on automobiles, aluminum, steel, separate from the other tariffs, the baseline we call it. Companies are pouring back into our country with plants. There's a run on sites. There's a run on old plants. Most of them are being ripped down for new plants. They've stopped building in Mexico, 4 or 5 plants, and they're all coming into the United States. I know what the hell I'm doing. I know what I'm doing, and you know what I'm doing too. That's why you vote for me. And the chip makers are coming in. They're all coming in. We've never had anything like this. We have investment, they think, of about $7 trillion. And that's been in a month and a half. Think of that. For the first, you got to give me a little time to get warmed up with that. So let's take the first couple of weeks off. For about a month and a half, we got almost $7 trillion spoken for. Trillion. We've never had that. I don't know if we've ever had it at any time, but if you go back and look at Biden and these other campaigns, any of them, they didn't have those numbers for the year. These are the biggest chip makers in the world, the biggest auto manufacturers in the world. $7 trillion of investment, and that means jobs. I look at it differently, not investment. I look at it as jobs. And they're coming in at levels that we've never seen before. And it is true that Mexico, they've stopped building plants, and those plants are now going to be built in the United States of America. So it's pretty exciting. All because of two things. They say, they want to be nice to me. They say, sir, because of November 5th, the election, and because of tariffs. I said, in that order? And the smart one said, yes, sir. First was that you got elected, and second was tariffs. And I'll accept that, you know. But I will tell you, because of tariffs. But I'm the only one that would have done the tariffs, because everybody was afraid. They were afraid of being criticized because the globalists will go after you. For 7 decades, American ships have patrolled the seas. American troops have kept the pace and peace. And American wealth has enriched the globe. But despite all we have given to them, you will not find an American car in Berlin, in Tokyo, in Seoul, in Shanghai, not a car. I used to say to Angela Merkel, Angela, how many Chevrolets do we have in Berlin? Why, none, Donald, none. That's right, Angela, you got it. How many Chevrolets do you think we have in Munich, Angela? None, Donald. I said, you sent us 7 million cars last year. So we're going to start buying American-made cars or cars that are manufactured in America. And if you can do it, not part of what I was going to say, but one of the best things that I think I've come up with is interest deductions. If you buy a car that's made in America, you get an interest deduction on the money you borrow. And I love it. I hope you can do it, Mike. I hope you can do it, because I haven't bugged you about that. I've been talking about no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. And I haven't really been as strong on this one, but it's only because it gets a little bit long, you know. But if you think of it, you buy a car, you borrow money, and you get a deduction on that money if the car is made in America. I'm thinking that will not cost you 10 cents. You'll make money with that one. I think you'll make money actually in a certain way with the other three also. I think they're very important, and they were part of our campaign. I was going to say before that in Nevada, that when I came up with the no tax on tips, I think that's why we won by a massive amount. And interestingly, they came up about a month and a half later. She was making one of her few speeches. She didn't speak too much for a reason, good reason. She was making a speech, and in the middle she said, oh, and by the way, we will have, you know, everyone's falling asleep, we will have no tax on tips. The place booed the hell out of it. They said, you're a little late on that one. Because I was worried they'd copy me. You know, it was so good. You know how it actually happened? Maybe I should tell the story quickly. I was in my building in Las Vegas. We have a great restaurant there. And this young, beautiful waitress, and you're not allowed to say beautiful because that's the end of your political career. If you call a young woman beautiful, that's the end of your career. But what the hell? She was beautiful. So she came up to me. And she said, hello, sir. It's so nice to have you at the hotel. I said, thank you. I had a group of people. Some political people, actually. It was very interesting. And I said, how's everything going? She said, oh, it's so tough. They're after my tips. Who's after? The government. They're after my tips, constantly after my tips. They're after all of us for the tips. She said, sir, we should have no tax on tips. I said, say it again. What? We should have no tax. She said it. This was my consultant, a waitress from my hotel. Most people go out and spend millions of dollars to come up with an idea. I said, she just said, no tax on tips. That's the coolest thing I've ever heard. So I went outside. There were a lot of, we finished our wonderful meal, steak, went outside, and there were a lot of cameras, as there always are, unfortunately. I said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a new policy all over the country, but specifically in Nevada. There will be no tax on tips, right? And the cameras went wild. Click, 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 click. And we won the state by a lot, so I don't know. So I have to find that waitress and thank her. She was my consultant. Except I didn't pay her $2 million like the other consultants that we all get screwed by. Even worse than the tariffs other countries impose are the non-monetary barriers. That's a non-monetary. These are not financial. These are other things, what they do so that you can't get your product in that country. And China, as you know, is one of the bigger offenders. And it's not all China. Look, I get along with President Xi. I have over the years. But, you know, you just, when COVID came, that was the end. That was it. That was called the bridge too far. But I've always had a good relationship with a very smart guy, loves his country. I love our country. So, you know, we love our country. He loves his. I tell that to other leaders. You got to fight for your country. It's, you're not going to fight for us. But we can't fight for you. We're fighting for other countries. We're trying to make them great without making us great. But those days are over. They steal our intellectual property. They rob our trade secrets. They manipulate their currency to levels that have never been seen before. Today it was announced that China is reducing its currency. Did you see that? Big. In other words, they're going to make up for it. They got every trick in the book. I'll tell you, they are great. You got to hand it to them. You got to hand it to them. They're manipulating their currency today as an offset against the tariffs. Not supposed to do that. The game isn't supposed to be played that way. It makes it very hard for us. But in the end, it's not good because they have to buy oil. See, we don't need oil. We don't need oil and gas. We have more than any other country. They have to buy it. That's where it hurts them when they do that. It costs them twice as much. And they ship their products through every one of our trading partners, running up our deficits with these countries. They sell a lot. You know, when you put a tariff on them, they sell it like with steel. They were dumping tremendous amounts of steel into our country during my term. I saved every steel mill. We only have steel mills because of what I did. I put a high tariff on them, 25 and then 50%, and it stopped. It stopped. They were dumping so much steel, we would have lost every single steel mill. The people that like me best are the people in the steel business, but I think the auto business is going to be right there. I think chips are going to be there. I think pharmaceuticals are going to be there. Because, you know, we don't make our own pharmaceuticals, drugs, and other things to get better. They're made in other countries. And you pay a number, I mean, the same package in our country compared to like London and other places is sometimes 10 times more. 10 times more. Something that sells for $88 in London sells for $1,300 here, made in the same factory by the same company. And that's over. I told them all that's over. They put all of their research and development money, they put everything. But what they don't tell you is that these other countries are smart. They say you can't charge more than $88, otherwise you can't sell your product. And the drug companies listen to them. But we're going to do something that we have to do. We're going to tariff our pharmaceuticals, and once we do that, they're going to come rushing back into our country because we're the big market. The advantage we have over everybody is that we're the big market. So we're going to be announcing very shortly a major tariff on pharmaceuticals, and when they hear that, they will leave China, they will leave other places because they have to sell. Most of their product is sold here. And they're going to be opening up their plants all over the place in our country. We're going to be announcing that. So that's breaking news. Ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news. That's what's going to happen. What other presidents allow China to get away with is absolutely criminal, but I'm not like the other presidents, and it's not going to happen under President Trump. It's just not going to happen. After all of the abuses they've perpetrated, China's attempting to impose additional unjustified tariffs. Just so you understand, they all got rich because of tariffs. You know, now when we do it, oh, it's so terrible what Trump is doing. It's so terrible. They got rich. And not only China, many countries. I mean, you look at Vietnam, you look at so many, I could name 50 right now. Biden couldn't do that. He couldn't name any. Name one country. Name any country. What's the name of our country? He doesn't know. That's why additional tariffs on Chinese goods are in place effective midnight tonight at 104%. Until they make a deal with us, that's what it's going to be. I think they'll make a deal at some point. China they want to make a deal. They really do. They want to make a deal. They just don't know how to get it started. Because they're proud people. China will now pay a big number to our Treasury. This is all taxes. And don't let them keep telling you that this is a tax on our people. I hate that. You know, they say it's a tax. No. Often, much of it is paid. And hey, look what happened during my first term. We had no inflation, and yet I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs and taxes from China. No other president got 10 cents in tariffs or taxes from China. I got hundreds of billions of dollars. Hundreds of billions of dollars. And I still got along with them because they understood what they were doing was wrong. They understood it. When you explain it, they sit up, they say, I've had numerous leaders tell me, you're right, sir, I was waiting for you to bring this up. Because some of the trade deals that were made by predecessors as president were so bad, you almost wonder who did these deals. They were either crooked or stupid. They could be nothing else. They were either stupid or crooked. It's terrible, but it's all being changed. I changed a lot of it in the first 4 years. But it's all being changed. You know, in the first 4 years, we had the most successful country in history in terms of economics. We had an 88% increase in the stock markets. We had an 88% increase. There's never been any president that had an 88% increase. We had 88%. And there are a lot of happy people. And I think we're going to do much better than that this time, because this time I'm doing what I want to do with respect to the tariffs. I think we're going to do much better. And just remember the numbers. When you get up to $2 billion a day, $2 billion a day, they're saying, sir, can't be that, can it? I said, yeah, it can. It's the biggest transaction ever made. This is bigger than any deal. You guys, some of you work for companies. Your companies are peanuts. I don't care how big they are. This is the largest transaction in the history of our country. And don't let some of these politicians go around saying, you know, because I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my ass. They are dying to make a deal. Please, please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything. I'll do anything, sir. And then I'll see some rebel Republican, you know, some guy that wants to grandstand, say, I think that Congress should take over negotiations. Let me tell you, you don't negotiate like I negotiate. Congress takes over negotiating, sell America fast because you're going to go busted. You don't. I just saw today a couple of your congressmen say, I think we should get involved in the negotiation of the tariffs. Oh, that's what I need. I need some guy telling me how to negotiate. I tell you, the happiest people in the world would be China. They wouldn't be paying 104%. I tell you, they'd be paying no percent. We'd be paying them 104%. That's the beauties. These guys, we got to be careful. And even the concept of it hurts your negotiation. When they see a little story like that, the other side, you know, it hurts your negotiation, and then the fake news wants to build it up, and it has no chance anyway. But we have to remain united. As I defend workers from unfair trade, House Republicans have a chance this week to bring trillions and trillions of dollars pouring back into America by pushing forward with the largest tax cuts in American history, which is what you're working on right now. The largest in American history. And you know, the reason because we had a great first term and amazing first term, but I saw that the other day that we had the most successful, I mean, I knew it anyway, but I saw that we had 88% increase. That's a tremendous increase. Think of that. And that's with all of the difficulties and all of the fake investigations and the Adam Shifty shifts. Can you believe this guy? He's got the smallest neck I've ever seen. And the biggest head. We called him watermelon head. I'd say, how could that big fat face stand on a neck that looked like this finger? How can it? It was the weirdest thing. It's a mystery. Nobody can understand it. But he's one of the most dishonest human beings I've ever seen. And you know, how we can allow people like that to run an office is a shame, but we did. He was in charge of the witch hunt, you know. He was in charge of the fake witch hunt with Russia. It was a made-up story. Made up. Think of it. They make up a story. They know it's made up. It's gone on for a year and a half, 2 years. Russia. I knew nothing about it. The only thing I knew was that I taxed the pipeline that I told you about, that I put all sorts of sanctions and everything else. They never had a problem like they had with me. But it was Russia, 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 constant, as a method of, what they did is that was the complaint about why she lost an election, because crooked Hillary was expected to win the election. But they didn't see what we saw. We saw the biggest crowds in history gathering, only superseded by the crowds we just had. But here's a guy that goes out, and he goes to an intelligence hearing, or whatever you might call it, and it's supposed to be secret. He'd walk out, he'd either make a call off the record, just crooked Adam, shifty Schiff. He's a shifty Adam. Or he'd just go out blatantly and have a news conference. And because it had to do with me and my family, he'd go out and have a news conference. And he said, now you've got to remember, he knows it's a hoax because he made it up with crooked Hillary. So he knows it's a hoax because we're dealing with human beings on the other side. It's a Donald Trump Jr., the son of the President of the United States, will spend many years in prison because of what he's done with Russia. Now, think of that statement on a human basis. I have a son, a young son, who is being told that he's going for prison on something he doesn't even know what they're talking about. He said, Dad, I don't know what's going on. They keep talking about I'm involved with Russia. I don't know anything about Russia, I swear to you, Dad. And yet, Adam Schiff goes out and makes a statement about a hoax that he made up, that he knows is false. How bad a human being do you have to be? They put my son and my family through that kind of trauma. These are bad people. These are sick degenerates. And I used to be much nicer to them. I gave them the benefit of the doubt, but I've just seen too much. They make up a story about Russia. It's a hoax. And eventually, now they've all admitted it was a hoax. On to the next one. That's Russia, Russia, Russia. But they know it's a hoax. And they say about a young man that he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison because of what he's done with Russia. He knows it's a hoax. How bad do you have to be to have that happen to your son? And, you know, there's a bad effect on a family, a bad effect. You know, you okay, Don? I am, Dad, but I don't understand. They keep tying me to Russia. I don't know anything about Russia. He didn't know a damn thing about Russia. It's a disgraceful situation. That's why we got to kick their asses in the midterms, and we got to kick their asses again in 4 years. If we slash taxes on American workers and producers, our economy will soar, jobs will surge, manufacturing will boom, and our country will prosper like never, ever before. We got to get this big, beautiful deal done. We got to get it done, and get it done now. Don't wait 2 weeks. Don't wait 2 weeks. See, bad things happen. Crazy things happen in politics. Just get the damn thing done and stop showboating. A couple of people want to, sure, we got to get a little bit more. A little bit more, you know what you're going to get? You end up getting nothing. You end up getting a Democrat bill or worse. In the past 11 weeks, we've already created 350,000 jobs. It's unprecedented, including 10,000 manufacturing jobs that we haven't even started yet. Gas prices, you know, when I came in, they said he campaigned on prices coming down and prices are going up. They're not going up, they're going down. Gas prices are way down. In fact, they had something $2.50 a gallon. I saw on television a little while ago in between watching my great friends on C-SPAN. I saw that the prices are down to $2.50, $2.60, $2.75. When I came in office, it was $3.50, $3.75. But prices are coming down. Prices on groceries are coming down. Prices of eggs are down like 87%. 87, you know, they got me with that. I told you. Before I even got in office, they were telling me they're down close to 87%. And core inflation has dropped to the lowest levels in 4 years. And as I said, we had no inflation in 4 years, despite the fact that I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs, so we hadn't even started yet. Nearly $6 trillion of new investment, and that number is now revised up to about 7. Apple, great company, is spending $500 billion because of tariffs. 500 billion, not 500 million. That's a lot. 500 million. You know, when I first heard the number, I said, you mean 500 million? You can build a lot of plants for... No, sir, 500 billion. 500 billion? TSMC, the biggest, most powerful chip maker in the world. This is without that stupid CHIP Act, where they say, here's billions of dollars to a company that doesn't need it. These chip companies are loaded. They give these companies billions of dollars to build a plant in the United States. They don't build them in the United States. They keep the money. It looks good. They give them billions. No. TSMC, I gave them no money. Great company. Most powerful in the world. Biggest chip company in the world. They're spending $200 billion in Arizona building one of the biggest plants in the world. And that's without money. All I did is say, if you don't build your plant here, you're going to pay a big tax. 25, maybe 50, maybe 75, maybe 100%. NVIDIA is investing hundreds of billions of dollars. Johnson & Johnson is investing $55 billion. Eli Lilly is investing $27 billion. DeMac is investing $20 billion. We have billions and billions being invested by Merck, Clarios, Stellantis, General Motors, Honda, Nissan, Hyundai. All are putting in billions and billions and billions of dollars. They're buying sites all over. They're building because they don't want to have to pay 25 and 50% tariffs. They're all doing it. And I think they also have confidence in the country. They have a president that they have confidence in. I know many of them. With the help of people in this room, we are one big, beautiful bill signing away from the greatest economy in the history of the world. And it's an overhang. You know, this bill's an overhang because if it doesn't get signed, we will have imposed the biggest tax on the people of this country in our country's history by 40%. Biggest tax, because we gave you the biggest tax cut in history. Now we're giving you another, which is one of the reasons that there are many reasons why we were so successful. That's one of the big ones. The other one is that 1 year deduction, all in 1 year deduction, so big, and I know they're working on that, the big deduction. It makes people invest. But now we're working on something that's going to, I think, blow it away. This bill is unbelievable. It's going to bring a lot of money back into our country. But if we don't do it, it's going to be a disaster. And you just better hope that people believe that it was the Democrats' fault because, you know, they're very good at saying it was our fault. It'll be the biggest tax increase in history. And all my life as I watched politicians, I wasn't a politician, but I watched them and I contributed to them a lot, contributed a lot of money over the years, but I watched it. But all my life I'd hear politicians saying, we are going to give you a tax cut. I will cut your taxes. We will cut your I never heard. They're the only party that says, we are going to increase your taxes. Vote for me. Who the hell ever heard this? Only these people. We're at a strange time. These lunatics go out and they tell everybody how you're going to have a big tax increase. So maybe they want the bill to fail so that we can have a tax. Maybe they'll take credit for it. But I've never heard that said. I've watched politics all my life. I've never seen politicians campaign on, we're going to increase your taxes, except these crazy Democrats. As part of this legislation, I am committed to spending cuts, and I will fight hard to include the elimination of hundreds of billions of dollars in waste, fraud, and abuse in the bill. We've already found hundreds of billions of dollars through Doge, and Elon has been terrific. He's been really terrific. But we've found hundreds of billions of dollars of waste, fraud, and abuse. But now we need to get the budget resolution, and we have to get it passed in the Senate. We have to bring it through the House. It's going to pass in both. One thing I'll say is that Thune has been great. John Thune has been great. And he's worked with your great leader hand in hand. Those two bills are coming up together, and they're very similar. And I didn't know if that would happen because you have a lot of different rules, procedures, complicated stuff. But Mike has been amazing, and John Thune, and they've worked like amazingly well because they've just been going on at the same time. And we're ready to get this thing done and beyond and get rid of the debt hangover ceiling that's a disaster for our country and for everybody, and to give people the biggest tax cuts they've ever had because we're going to add them both up together. It'll be the biggest tax cuts. It'll blow away the tax cuts that we got them 4 years ago. If we follow through on this agenda, we will be rewarded with a phenomenal economy and a massive victory at the ballot box in 2026, because we will have a record of triumph like no president has ever had, like no Congress has ever had. They will not be able to even touch your seat. Your seat is secure, and we'll pick up 40, 50, or even 60 seats, and we'll have something that's going to be smooth sailing for years to come. If we don't get it done because of stupidity or a couple of people that want to show how great they are, you just have to laugh at them or smile at them or cry right in their face. In less than 3 months, our new administration has already accomplished more than most administrations achieve in 4 years or 8 years, and everybody says it. And we have to have this stuff documented and approved. In a matter of weeks, we've achieved the lowest level of illegal border crossings in American history. In history, they have a plaza in front in Tijuana, Mexico. I wouldn't advise going there on a trip, but nevertheless, they have a plaza, a big plaza, held hundreds of thousands of people. Yesterday morning, there were none. There was a man sweeping this massive plate of concrete, massive. And he was sweeping the concrete, and there was nobody there. During the same period last year, Joe Biden released more than 184,000 illegal aliens into our country. Think of it. Many of these people were from jails and mental institutions, as I said. Since my inauguration, we've released a grand total of nine. And they were all, in all cases, medical emergencies. We did that for medical emergency reasons. Last month, we officially designated Tren de Aragua, MS-13, and the Mexican drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. And thanks to the Supreme Court yesterday, and today we had a big ruling too. We had a very big ruling today. But we will continue to deport these monsters under the Alien Enemies Act. Think of that, Alien Enemies Act. Can you believe it? All things we wouldn't have had to do if the election weren't rigged. Now, in reconciliation, we need Republicans in Congress to give us the full funding to permanently secure the border and to carry out. That's part of what we're asking for. Who could fight that? We want to permanently secure. Without a border or without fair elections and without a good press, you don't have a country. Well, we have a lousy press. We now have a good border. And we're going to get good elections pretty soon. There's a lot of clamor for it. I think it's something that you should work on. You should go out and put a bill in demanding. You demand. You know, because the states are just an agent of the federal government, of you. You're to demand paper ballots. You're to demand one-day elections. You know what they do when it's longer than one day? All of a sudden, well, we're fixing the room up. Move those boxes. We're putting an air conditioner. Oh, really? We'll move the boxes back in a few days. Well, we're painting the room. Please move the boxes. And you notice the boxes go out, and then they move back in about half the number. Oh, it's so sick. One-day election. You don't need any more than that. One-day election, paper ballots. It's. I think you should put a bill in. I mean, I don't know. Who's in favor of a bill? Who could not want it? Who could not want it? But I think you should do a bill in that. I think it would be so popular. And more importantly than popular, it's so necessary. You have to have great elections. You have to have fair and free elections. And you've got to have borders. Otherwise, you don't have a country. To quickly bring down the cost of energy and lower the price of everything, on day one, I declared a national energy emergency to drill, baby, drill. We're drilling. Oh, we're drilling. I withdrew from the unbelievably expensive for us, the Paris Climate Accord. So we were paying, it would have cost us $1 trillion, $1 trillion. China doesn't come into it till like 2035. Russia's based on a 1992 standard when the air was dirty. India was based on a very low standard. Except the United States, we had to pay immediately. We would have spent trillions of dollars on that scam. And it sounds so nice, the Paris Climate Accord. What a beautiful name. Isn't it beautiful? It was a ripoff of the United States. Well, don't forget, I'm negotiating with these people, but if you really look, the European Union, why was that set up? It was set up to screw the United States of America. They formed a group of countries, got together, and let's make life miserable for the United States of America on trade and other things, and they have done that. They've done that. They've treated us very badly. We don't sell cars into the European Union. They won't take our agriculture. They want their own, but we take their agriculture, we take their cars by the millions. I terminated the Green News scam, one of the great scams, one of the great hoaxes in the history of our country, only superseded by Russia hoax. I canceled Joe Biden's insane electric vehicle mandate where everybody had to have an electric vehicle in a very short period of time. Everybody was forced to have an electric vehicle. They built some power stations in the Midwest. They look like gas pumps with electricity, right? They spent $8 billion, and 4 of the 9 of them don't work. 4 of 9, they built 9 or 8, but half of them don't work. They spent $8 billion bringing the cables, bringing the wires. What a great investment that was. Billions of dollars they spent. Now people can go out and buy a gasoline-powered car or hybrid. They can buy whatever they want. We don't want hydrogen because they have some big problems. They blow up and you never see who is driving the car. You're not recognizable. That's a big problem. They would tell me about, sir, I'm really liking hydrogen cars. I said, but isn't there a problem? Yes, they tend to blow up on occasion. I said, how bad is it? Well, we found body parts 250 yards away from the car. We think it was Mr. Jones, but we're going to go to see his dentist and see if we can. So if you have one of those incidents, let's forget it, right? It's a bomb. It's a bomb. I don't want him to work. I actually said, don't work on it. Between that and windmills, you can have windmills too. Most expensive form of energy ever. Anybody have a windmill by your house? Congratulations, you'll never sell your house. And today I signed historic executive orders to unleash coal production to the highest levels ever. Because, coal is the most powerful thing. We have more of it than any. We have more liquid gold under our feet, oil and gas, and we have more coal than any other country. No other country has as much as we have. All different forms of coal. And take a look at China. They're building 2 coal plants a week. Think of that, 2 a week. We are screwing around with wind. Oh, wind. These people are crazy. They say, oh, it's great for the environment. Yeah, it kills all your birds. You want to see a bird cemetery? Walk under a windmill sometime. Got birds all over the place. They're screaming for help. They got whacked. The environmentalists, it's an environmental dream. You know why? Because you're never going to have energy. They're the most expensive form of energy there is. 10 times more expensive than clean natural gas. 10 times much more expensive than coal. And they're very unreliable. Like if they wanted to watch us tonight on television, Alice, I want to watch the president tonight. I'm sorry, darling, but the windmills aren't blowing. We're going to give them confidence to do what they have to do long into the future because coal is going to be a big factor in our country now. It does give us our electricity because there's nothing like coal in terms of power, but it's going to be clean, beautiful coal like our bill. It's going to be clean and beautiful. Coal miners, and by the way, they've made tremendous progress with also coal in terms of clean coal. But the coal miners standing alongside of me this afternoon in the White House, they were incredible. They were a beautiful sight to behold. These are really great American patriots, beautiful guys. I didn't want to have any arm wrestling contests with any of them, I can tell you that. They're good, strong guys. That's what they want to do. They love to dig coal. That's what they want to do. They don't want to do gadgets and widgets and wadgets. They don't want to build cell phones with their hands, their big, strong hands, and doing a little thing. Remember when Hillary Clinton went to West Virginia? And she had decimated them 3 weeks before in like some state. where they make little tiny circuit boards. And she said, we're going to teach the miners in West Virginia how to make a circuit board with little tiny things. He said, we're going to teach them. And then she went to West Virginia. She was in the campaign. And she had to go there. Do you remember that stop? It was memorable. It was one of the worst. Did they go after her? And one of the miners said, I don't want to do anything else but dig coal. I want to dig coal. They said it today. That's what they love. They love doing it. It's like that in a lot of industries. People love doing what they're doing. They want to dig coal. That's what they want. They don't mind going deep in earth. They feel comfortable there. Me, I could do without it. But they feel comfortable. They're incredible people, actually, hardworking, incredible people. And we're giving them their lives back. We've also begun the largest deregulation campaign in history. For every one new regulation, I have directed that 10 old regulations must be eliminated before the first one can go into effect. And we're working tirelessly to restore peace through strength and bring back the hostages held captive abroad. We've brought a lot of them back already, but what a sad situation that is. What a sad situation that is. That would have never happened if I were president. October 7th would have never happened. And I said Russia-Ukraine would have never happened. All this stuff, inflation would have never happened. Afghanistan disaster would have never happened. Most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. Not leaving. I was going to leave. I'm the one that got them to a point where they could leave, but I was going to keep Bagram, the air base, one of the biggest in the world. I was going to keep it, not for Afghanistan, because it's 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. Wouldn't it be nice to have it? You know who occupies it now? China occupies it now. Can you believe how stupid this guy was? On top of that, they get blown up at the airport, leaving the wrong airport. They didn't leave from Bagram. They left from a local little airport, which was crowded and like crazy with the people from the towns and cities. And the bomb went off and decimated hundreds of people, killed hundreds. We lost 13 soldiers. But we also had 42 or 48 horribly injured. Arms, legs, face, horribly injured. All because we had a stupid leader. Should have never happened. Should have never been involved in that. We're also joined tonight by a number of brave souls who were recently released from Hamas captivity. Hamas is just a disaster, the level of hatred. Where are the people? Hamas, they understand what that's all about. Where are you? That's great. How does it feel to be out? How does that feel to be out, huh? You want to come up here for a second? Come on up here. Come on up here. Come on up. Yeah, let them up, please. That's great. That's great. I'll tell you, these people, what they had to go through. I had 10 hostages in my office 2 weeks ago. What they had to go through is just horrible. Come on up. That's great. That is so nice to see you. That is so nice.
Thank you very much, President Trump. I'm here and I'm alive. President Trump, you saved my life. You saved the life of 33 hostages that because of your efforts and you're setting the hostage crisis at the high priority of what you're doing among all of the enormous issues and things that you're dealing with since you came into your position as President of the United States. You set the hostage crisis at the highest priority. You got 33 of us home alive. We all owe our lives to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And please continue your tremendous efforts and your tremendous actions and your tremendous accomplishments. Continue, and we will get, with your help, all of the remaining 59 hostages still in Gaza back home. Thank you.
Thank you, President Trump, for bringing my Keith home. Keith's grandchildren are the happiest. Keith's children are the happiest. Keith's family is the happiest. But I am the most happiest. Thank you so much. We need you. We need you to bring all the hostages home. There's 24 that are alive and 59 to come home to their families. Just like I received Keith, they needed to. We have Yair standing here with us, and Eitan, his brother, is underneath the ground now, begging to get out. So I'm begging you all to help us. We need your help. Thank you.
So, my name is Yair. I've been in hell for 498 days. I've been held in hell with Hamas terrorists. When we didn't see the light, but we feel when we heard President Trump get elected, we knew there is now someone who makes the things happen. We needed, I'm sorry about my English. I am half Argentinian, half Israeli. I'm sorry. We knew we need someone who do the things. That's President Trump. We are here because of President Trump. Thank you. Thank you for your efforts. It's really surreal to be here. You know, I'm a simple man. I'm running the bar in the kibbutz in Niroz, where I was live, and now I'm here with President Trump, who's running the world. We are thankful. We are really thankful, but humbly we ask for more. The last push, the last 59 people, the last 59 hostages, among them my brother Eitan, and what is Liran brothers, Zivi and Gali and Eviatar, all the brothers, all the families. In a few days we mark the Passover, right? Pesach. It's a family. Family time. So I expect that in the next Seder, when my mother make the knedalach, the matzo balls, that my brother Eitan, my little brother, who I call little, but he's 38, but it's my little brother. I hope he can sit with us in the Seder of Passover, and wow, it's overwhelming. I just want to tell you again, thank you. Thank you very much.
I just want to say, I said, of the 59 people that you want to bring home, how are they and how are they doing? Do you have any idea? Because they left that whole scene not long ago, and they said, well, of the 59, 24 are living, the rest are dead. I just heard that. And I was told that before by somebody else. But 24 are living, the rest are dead. These are young people, largely young people. Young people don't die. Young people are killed, they don't die. But the conditions were so horrible. But think of that, so of the 59. And I've had Israeli parents tell me that my son is dead, but please bring him home. As though he were alive, she wanted him brought home more than, it just seemed almost more than if her child was living. Amazing. They wanted the mother and father. In 3 other cases, they wanted to have them brought home. I said, how is he doing? He's dead. It's only his body, but we want him home. So there's an amazing thing. But the 59 that you mentioned, you said that 24 were alive and the rest are dead. This is a terrible thing that's going on with Hamas. Terrible. The hatred is so incredible. It's unbelievable. And the way they were made to live was not even understandable, I think, by anybody in this audience. And you have great people in this audience that love you, and they're going to fight for you. And I just want to thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Be careful. It's incredible what they've been forced to live with for 450, 500 days. Incredible. Nobody in this room could really understand it. I found it hard to understand. But we'll not rest until your loved ones have been returned home, and hopefully we can do it the right way. We want to get those 24 out really fast, and we're working on it very hard. There was no chance before. This is something that should have been done right at the beginning during the past administration. On day one, we ended the so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion policies across the entire federal government, the private sector, and it's just not even allowed. I also signed an order making it the official policy of the United States government that there are only 2 genders, male and female. We want to keep it simple. As you know, in a very important executive order, I banned men from competing in women's sports. That was done, and I hope all of these executive orders can be codified, can be voted on by Congress. I can't imagine any Republican that's not going to vote for them. Many, many of them, over 100. And I think every single one of them is just common sense, good. It's good politics, but the word politics doesn't matter to me so much. It's good for our country. If Democrats retake the House next year, they will try to reverse all of the progress that we've made, which is record-setting progress. Instead of House committees run by Mike Johnson, Steve Scalise, Jim Jordan, James Comer, Ronnie Jackson, and so many other of our friends in this audience, The House will be run by the same band of radicals and lunatics you saw at my address to Congress, including Hakeem Jeffries, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Nancy Crazy Pelosi, and Weird Al Green. He's a weird dude. Oh, he should have been treated very badly for the way he behaved that night. Think of it, they didn't stand up. They didn't pay respect to anybody, including, think of it, you take a look at Laken Riley, you take a look at any of the people there, the parents of these incredible people, the young boy with cancer, serious cancer, wanted to be in a police department, would give anything to be a policeman someday. They refused to even applaud or acknowledge them. They're sick, there's something wrong with them. They sat, as the stories were explained, 2 young ladies savagely killed by illegal aliens. They came into our country and they killed these 2 young ladies, and the Democrats sat there. They didn't smile, they didn't clap, they didn't do anything. I think you frankly win the midterms. Just all you have to do is show a picture of these grieving parents, uncontrollably grieving, and they didn't get one clap out of the whole group of them. They just sat there like stoic and disgraceful. And you show that in your commercials that you're going to be putting on, and you'll win every race that we have in this room. That was a bad night for them, and now they know it. They're trying to make up for it. But they're just, I don't know, something wrong with them. That's why every day from now until November 2026, we're going to fight to elect and expand the Republican majority of the House and save our country from these radical left lunatics. We will not be deterred. We will not stop. We will not yield, and we will never, ever back down. We're not going to back down. They would lose respect if you back down. They're the ones that back down. They're the ones that have lost their confidence. They're no good anymore. I saw politicians that were good politicians 4 years ago. They're not good politicians anymore. They've lost their confidence. They've totally lost their confidence. But they can get their confidence back, so you can't rely on that too much, I guess. Together we're liberating our country, reclaiming our wealth, unleashing our energy, protecting our children, rebuilding our military, repelling the invaders, deporting the criminals, destroying the gangs, and unlocking what history will know as the golden age of America. This is going to be the golden age of America. With your support, your commitment, and your help to elect more Republicans, we will finish the job that we have really brilliantly started. It's been a brilliant period of years. And we go back to 2016, it was brilliant. Then they stole it from us by illegally rigging the election. And we did great in that election, but we had to write it off, and we all went through hell. I went through hell in particular. Indictments. What we had to go through is hard to believe. Impeachments, 2 impeachments over nothing, over a phone call that was perfect. They knew it was perfect. And they found out after they realized that the calls were essentially taped by the government because you were talking to a foreign leader. And when that was played back, they didn't know what the hell to do, but they went forward with it anyway because they're sick people. The American dream will come roaring back in our country. Together, we're going to make America greater than it's ever been before. And I just want to thank you and congratulations on your record evening. And I'm with you all the way, and I'm going to be campaigning with you, and we're going to win like we've never won before. And thank you to your leadership, and Mike, great job. You're doing a fantastic job. Thank you all very much.
Alrighty, so he's doing the dance. he's doing the dance. Can't play the music, but he's going to be doing the dance here. I don't think this was how he planned on ending this speech. I think he wanted to end it on a much more upbeat note, but he brought these people on stage and Didn't give him anywhere to go because of the heartbreaking. I can't imagine that guy could barely get through his talking. He was so heartbroken. I don't understand how these media folks, and they say all the crap that they say, and you can actually tell this guy cared. He actually cared. That wasn't something that he was doing politically. He was doing that because he just brought them up. He wanted to recognize them, and he was touched as well. So, I mean, crazy, absolutely crazy. He spoke for right about, I'd say, a little under 2 hours. So it was a long speech. I know some of you guys, I say this often because we used to do the same thing with the rallies. When we would see him talk, people would say, saying the same thing. It's boring. He's just going. You don't understand. This isn't on network television. This is on RSBN. It's on my channel. It's on a few other people's channel. It's on C-SPAN. It's not getting that wide audience. And so he's speaking to people who may never have heard what he said tonight. Some of you guys are jaded because you've been listening to President Trump talk for a year. But just imagine if that was the first time you saw President Trump. What would you think if that was the first time you saw him after everything you've heard in the media? And then you watch that, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not the guy they talk about. The guy they talk about is a big orange meanie. He hates people. He's a racist, fascist, Nazi. And here he is bringing up those people on stage and talking about the things the reason why he's being repetitive, and he's telling people about what he's done, why it's been so fantastic, and basically seeming like he's banging his chest because nobody else is doing it. It'd be one thing if it was like, LeBron James and every sportscaster on ESPN was telling you how he was so great and all-star, he's all-world, one of the best players ever in the NBA. It's always out there. It's not always out there about President Trump. In fact, it's just the opposite. So whenever he has the chance to speak to an audience, especially an audience that put up $35 million tonight, he's going to remind them, here's what I've done, here's what they've done, here's why I'm doing what I'm doing, here's what you have to look forward to. And so don't watch from a perspective of, I've seen this like 25 times, watch from the perspective of, wow, there are people who haven't heard this before. There are people who haven't seen what this man is all about. And that's where you come in. That's where you come in. And I don't mean to, go on about it, but I saw so many comments where people like, oh, he's boring. He's just talking. Yeah, that's why. That's why. Because he's not getting the media. The media is not going to cover this. It's only alternative media. It's only on X, and people can take snippets and everything else because they don't want him to get the word out there. Cynthia, you're absolutely right. People forget easily. Repetition is very important. In marketing, people have to hear something 7 to 10 times before it sinks in. Well, indelibly, one thing that will sink in were those 3 people that walked up on stage. You can't unsee that. You might forget what Trump said. You may think the background was too blue. You may think he was, being too harsh. But when you see that, you're like, I'm going to remember that. I am going to remember that. And that's the kind of thing that's impactful. I thought the same thing about the ending. He was visibly upset. Yeah. It's like, I can't give the Make America Great Again, Make America Wealthy. It's just not there. This thing it was a gut punch. Perfect timing to end it, but I think he expected to bring it up, bring it home, and then he had to realize, I can't do that here. This is different. Somebody said here, Nancy, Trump repeats because he's reminding all of us about the things that have happened. People have low retention, or they may just never hear it. You're not going to hear it on CNN, MSNBC, NBC, CBS, ABC. Nope, not going to hear it. So unless you hear it in a press conference with Caroline Leavitt, or you hear it from him, you don't hear it. So let me just be your reminder. It's 9:15. We are basically 3 hours till China-geddon. It's happening. It's going to happen unless for some reason somebody in China contacts President Trump in the next 3 hours and says, cut it off. We'll work with you. So expect craziness to happen and to ensue in the morning. It'll be just completely nuts. Absolutely completely nuts. Expect it. Just be ready for it, because it's going to be absolutely crazy tomorrow. Watch the markets drop by about, I don't know, 50-60%. No, it's not going to be that bad. Don't worry. Don't be a panicking. Nothing's dropping 50 or 60%. That's not going to happen. Let's see here. Let me check something. So in any event, let me go ahead and play this. Hey, if you'd like to join 15,000 plus fellow patriots on X in our private X/Twitter group, go to fanfareshop.org/group. Just put in that URL in your browser. It'll take you right to our private group on X. Love to see you there. Let's share some content. And before it gets to the hoodies, we're still working on the website, and so we're not going to tell people to go sign up because we're not ready yet. Hopefully I have time tomorrow to do that, and if I have time to get that done, I will definitely put that up as well to get that going. All right, so let me go ahead and look. Earlier I had put up a poll, and let's see what we have now. Almost 6,000 votes thus far, and 68% of you say that you want to see the speech he gave earlier. So it's early. It's only 9:15. You can stay around for the after party, or you can go see the video, which will be posted in 15 minutes. At 9:30, that speech video will be put up. So just be cognizant. That's coming at 9:30. Let me just make sure of something, make sure that time is correct. Yeah, it is indeed 9:30. All right, so you guys could be out of here so you can see that. Let me go ahead and look at Super Chats, and so I can get you guys out of here and I can go eat some dinner. I'm exhausted. I'm hungry and I'm exhausted. All right, hold on. Let me do this. Boom. That was a good speech he gave. I liked it. Nice speech. And it was kind of heartbreaking. All right, so let's do this. Change Windows, and we're ready to go. All right. No Ash, it's just a regular upload. I could make it a premiere. All right, so what I'm going to do, Ashley wants me to make it a premiere video, so I'm going to have to hustle here. Deborah Island Girl, thank you. Our Canadian conservative hopeful Palavoya has his biggest rally yet, and not one media outlet covered it. Shameful. Kenneth Vincent, put 10K in the market today, buy the dip and hold. Hold for sure. What happened? I seem like I'm kind of squished here. All right. In God we trust. We stand for Common Sense Party MAGA, not the crazy party. Exactly. Stray Shot 2010. Coffee power plant not too far away from me. Had the best scrubber system in the country. Obama closed it shortly after the scrubbers weren't operational. Polio 45. I fear that people will forget what's happening now. For their own benefit for the future, it happens and has happened. Let the love of country prevail in Yasha's name. Thank you. Tilly, to Barry and his loving wife. Thank you, Barry, for everything you do for us. Thank you, Mr. Barry, Mrs. Barry, for sharing them with us. I will definitely let her know that. Tilly, Barry channel is the best of all channels. Thank you, Tilly. God bless America. Someone in chat on Veteran Biker today complaining of accused being a troll last night on here for his different view on Trump and Israel. Veteran Biker slammed him. Oh, God, that's too funny. SV probably nailed him, and then he went over to Veteran Biker, and Veteran Biker wasn't having it. Great. Alex Fox, we can never let up. We are winning. Exactly. Erwin Owl, seems every day the bullet we dodged in November gets bigger and bigger. Well said. Tilly, Barry, can you please tell me how to become a member of your channel? I don't have memberships on this channel. We have a free X group, but there's no membership here because I didn't want to charge anybody. So that's what, you can go to our X group and sign up there. Christine, and it's free. Christina Mozart, Barry, being a newbie, this was the first time I ever really sat and listened to him. Wow, I could have listened another 2 hours. That's it. That's it. That's what I was trying to tell people. Being a newbie, you never know who's in here who have never heard Trump talk. And that's exactly who he's speaking to. Again, he's enlarging that tent. I mean, that's just a huge comment. Christine, and I think Christina is the young lady who also began her walk with the Lord, and I think we're sending out Bible to her, but this is the first time she says she's ever really sat and listened. So she was hearing things that she probably hadn't heard from him before. That's what it's all about. That's why he talks for so long and tells the story and everything else, because nobody else is telling it. Well said, Christina. Well said. Myrna Nacina, I'm always thankful for everything you do for us on here. Thank you very much. All right, so Ashley wants me to turn the video at 9:30 into a premiere video. Those of you guys who don't know what a premiere video is where I can play a video to basically, it'll have a countdown and we can live chat without being a live video. You get that? So it's going to be playing the recorded speech, but I can jump in. Ashley can. Any one of you will be able to jump in. So let me see if I can change that real quick. Yep, I'm changing it right now. Hold on. Let's see here. Hold on 1 second. If it's letting me do it. Yeah. All right. So we can do that. Yep, so it's going to be a premiere. You'll jump on. You'll see a countdown. The countdown will start right at 9:30, and you guys will be able to see it. So after this is over, those of you who have already seen it, maybe you'll stay in the after party, and then the rest of you could probably just jump over. And I won't be live. It's going to be playing on its own. It's 45 minutes, so get a cup of coffee, but I'll be chatting live along with everybody else. So let me jump to that. 9:30, you got 9 minutes, and those of you who want to stay in the after party, you can do so. So I'll see you in a couple minutes on the chat, on the other video, or I'll see you tomorrow. Either way, have a good evening.
Bye.